Bellini, coffee's king. Cigs in hand, she does her thing. Maggie's got the jokes we know. Together we are ready for the show. Chat's on fire, the crowd goes wild. Maggie's quips just drive me wild. Leanie's love for Java steams. We're living out our crazy dreams. On a Leanie, life's no lie. Sip that coffee, watch time fly. With Maggie by her side, it's clear the best damn show around is here. Subscriptions climbing, views so high. Leanie's truth, it makes us cry. Maggie's got that wit so quick. We tune in daily for our fix. Community that stands so strong. Laughing, chatting all day long. From sunrise to the longest nights. Leanie's tales put out our lights. On a Leanie, life's no joke. Spark that cig and take a toke. With Maggie by her side, it's clear the best damn show around is here. Subscriptions climbing, views so high. Leanie's truth, it makes us cry. With Maggie by her side, it's clear the best damn show is always near. On a Leanie, life's no loud. Maggie's quips just drive me wild. Leanie's love for Java steams. We're living out our crazy dreams. On a Leanie, life's no lie. Sip that coffee, watch time fly. With Maggie by her side, it's clear the best damn show around is here. The best damn show is always here. The best damn show is always near. Oh, 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 oh. It started with a chat, just a few of us there, talking about life and the stuff we all share. From kids to chaos and the mess we make. We bonded over laughs and every mistake. From bad hair days to a joke or two. No topic was off limits, nothing taboo. We laughed till we cried, had each other's backs. A sisterhood formed in the middle of tracks. Sisterhood of the chat, we're strong and we're loud. From West Virginia, Liverpool, we're proud. From Texas to Australia, we've got the best. Lifting each other up, we pass every test. From the East Coast to the West, we cheer. From Indiana to New York, we're always here. From late night texts to early morning calls, we've been through it all, big and small. From talking fashion to the crazy stuff, we've got each other's backs when life gets tough. We send memes and pics of the day gone wrong and the occasional "can you believe this song?" We share everything, no secrets to keep, like a wild dream that we never want to sleep. Sisterhood of the chat, we're strong and we're loud. From West Virginia, Liverpool, we're proud. From Texas to Australia, we've got the best. Lifting each other up, we pass every test. From the East Coast to the West, we cheer. From Indiana to New York, we're always here. From Tennessee, where the music plays, to sweet tea nights and lazy days. From England's hills to the country roads, our sisterhood's a bond that forever grows. Sisterhood of the chat, we're strong and we're loud. From West Virginia, Liverpool, we're proud. From Texas to Australia, we've got the best. Lifting each other up, we pass every test. From the East Coast to the West, we cheer. From Indiana to New York, we're always here. Through the highs and the lows, we've been there. When the world feels heavy, we just don't care. We're loud, we're bold, we're a little bit wild, but always there for each other, with hearts so mild. Sisterhood of the chat, we're strong and we're loud. From West Virginia, Liverpool, we're proud. From Texas to Australia, we've got the best. Lifting each other up, we pass every test. From the East Coast to the West, we cheer. From Indiana to New York, we're always here. So here's to the sisters.
Hello, hello, hello. Hello, welcome. I saw 8 and I was like, all right, let's do this. and then it dropped down to 2, and I was like, we're still doing this? Hi, Maggie.
Hello, dear. Erica, yes, I'm feeling much better today. Thank you, love.
Thank you guys so much for being here. We appreciate you guys so much. Really. Do me a favor, hit the like. Maggie, you sound crystal clear.
Oh, and you know what? You're
What?
saying it. You're telling me I'm sounding crystal clear. I haven't got the headphones on. I'm just talking through the laptop.
Oh, well, that's what you need to do from now on because you sound crystal clear.
Oh my God. Do it sound like echoey though, like that I'm in an
No,
empty room?
I can tell that you're in an emptier room, but it still sounds really clear.
I'm in my living room, and as you know, it's not empty. It must be the tiles on the floor.
Yeah, you don't have carpet to buffer anything, any of the
No,
sound.
so it sounds okay.
Yeah, sounds great. Hi,
Oh, okay.
everybody.
Oh, very
Hey,
lovely.
Erica. Good to see you. MJD, Love Bugs.
Hey,
Uh,
JB.
FBI's in the house. Hello. Hello. Hope everybody's having a good day. All the Aussies are probably still asleep. What you think, Max?
They'll be up soon, I think. We normally get we'll get Lulu in first, won't we, on our way to work?
Oh, okay. Okay.
It'll be probably about, I'd say, might be about 9ish. She gets up at 6, I think, for work.
Yeah.
So
I know
yeah,
she's been working 4 days a week now. Usually usually she works like 3 days.
yeah,
Even one more day is tough. It's tough.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Eric, so they're all saying crystal clear. No echo, Max.
Yay.
Oh,
Thank
that's
you, MJD, 18 months. That's incredible. Thank you
woohoo!
so much for that. We haven't been on for, I think it's been 3 days now. As you guys know, Maggie is still trying to heal from her fall, and I've had stomach issues. I've always got stomach issues. It's nothing to worry about. It's no big deal. It's just some days are harder than others. And these last 2 days have been a shite. So BK worked from home today, and I was like, look, dude, I said, I can't cook. Because I need chicken and I don't want to cook and I'm going live. So I said, can you just pick up a roasted chicken? And he was like, yeah, because everything I think about putting in my stomach, it just, ugh. So I was
You
hoping
know
it
what? It's
wasn't
so
getting,
much easier, isn't it, to just get one that's already cooked when you can.
and I really like them. I make chicken salad
Yeah,
and all the different stuff all
lovely.
the
And
time.
I think they're always more moist when they're you then
Mhm.
when I do them, they're okay. Do you
Rotisserie.
get the ones in the bag, Lee?
The rotisserie kind.
Oh, they're lovely in the bag, aren't they?
Hmm.
Pre-packed in the bag, they cook, and there's all kinds of absolutely gorgeous.
Hmm. Well, the deal is my husband would rather have beef or even pork, and I'm good with that. But when my stomach's not feeling like whenever she's giving me a fit, I have to just eat chicken or
Yeah,
not
yeah.
eat anything at all. Because all I ate was a baked potato the other night, the night it started. I just ate a
Yeah.
baked potato, and that was it. I was sick for 2 days from it, but I started feeling better
Oh,
this morning. So
I'm surprised you've gone live. Listen, I'm gonna have to put my headset on because some things I'm missing. So I'm sorry.
don't be
I'll
sorry. It's
I'll
okay.
be able to
Erica, have
hear.
you been sick too?
I'll be
I
able
know
to
that.
hear.
Okay. Have you been sick too, Erica? I know a lot of people have been sick. My grandkids have been sick as well. So, I mean, I guess it's that time of year. And today, Indiana weather, you guys, is freaking gorgeous. I think we're in the 60s today. The sun is shining. There's a little bit of cloud coverage. The mud is ridiculous all over my living room and everything. But listen, after the mud, next comes dry dirt. So I'm all about just getting the mud over with. But you guys, I mean, April we're gonna rain a lot, but I I'm so tired of being freaking cold. So tired of it. Erica says, "Hi Shad, good to see you, love bug. I've missed you." Darlene, good morning to you over there. Chicken in a bag, a bachelor's handbag. It's 80 there, JB. Oh, that's a little too hot for me. Erica had influenza and it turned into pneumonia, and I've been sick. Oh my gosh, girl. Whoo! You've been really sick, not just a little sick, like a stomach ache. Gosh, I'm glad you're starting to feel better.
Oh my God, Erica. Oh, 2 months.
Anyways, it's
Oh,
so I have been watching what's going on with Nancy Guthrie, which is next to nothing. I mean, watching JLR, I can only do it for so long sitting there watching the desert, but I have caught a couple funny things. Mainly it's just been funny, I think. Maybe it's not meaning to be, but
yeah.
it just happens
Yeah.
that way and I giggle, but there hasn't been a whole lot. We know that Nancy Guthrie, not Nancy, I'm so sorry. Savannah Guthrie went back to New York and she, pardon me, she went back to the Today Studios and saw all of her colleagues and things like that. And I had read she was going back on the 5th. They must have meant that that's when she was showing up to the studios, not necessarily going back to work, but Lizzo schooled me real well on that one. So, and today's
Yeah,
the 6th. So
she said she was going to see colleagues. That's what I seen anyway. And there was a lady standing outside just on her own. She had an umbrella. She came out and she said she was sorry, you know, what happened to her mum. And she thanked her. And then she walked towards a waiting car. And then she was going, she said something else to her. And she was just rushing. She couldn't wait to get away. And I thought,
yeah,
you know what, if she's took 5 minutes out, I'd understand if there was a group of people shouting, Savannah, what's this? Savannah, what's that? You know, I would have understood it. Like,
right.
you know, you just can't be coping with that. But for one lady on her own, it would have looked nice if she'd have took 5 minutes out to just stand and have a little conversation with her.
Yeah, yeah,
You know, because there's so many people out there that are devastated for it.
yeah. And it's a bad look. It's a bad look coming from the public like us, that are
It
looking
is,
into
yeah.
this, because
she
it's
was
kind
so
of
nice.
saying, yeah, and it's kind of just saying, oh, I'm going in to see my colleagues. This is the news right here.
Yeah,
We're gonna get some footage. It's gonna be good. It's good
Mhm.
publicity. But
Yeah.
you standing outside the studio, no big deal. You're just, and if
Yeah.
it wasn't for the internet and it wasn't for JLR and Brian Inton,
I wanna
listen,
know.
nobody's doing anything. Nobody's
Well,
doing
JB
anything.
said maybe Savannah's testing the waters. That's what I think about going back baby steps, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and did you see Brian Enton's report that he's
Yeah.
saying that the internet was out on the night Nancy was kidnapped?
Yeah, that's what Shag just said. Brian
Do you
Inton just
remember
report.
hearing that round the beginning?
Yes. Yes.
Because I remember as soon as that was said, I said that's already been said at the very beginning. Someone said what the
Hi,
internet was
Hope.
out.
Darling,
I
get
do.
you some rest, honey. Go back to bed and get you some rest. I know it's early there in Australia for y'all.
Yeah.
It's amazing how some of the stuff that happened in the very beginning that
It's all
I
coming out
haven't
now,
forgotten about, but the media never even reported on it. It was only
Yeah.
the YouTubers that, because we hang on to every little thing and then we make a big deal of it. The media chooses and picks what they're going to use for their programs. And it's funny now listening to the media come out with shit that YouTube has already covered many times and gone over and over and over it.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny seeing that. And I know they don't have the time that we have. I mean, we could sit here for 3 hours and have a conversation about stuff. And I get that, and they can't.
Yeah.
So, but
And-
still, I'm just like, you're a little behind on that. We already discussed, we got it.
So, you know, when Mary Jane Joe said, I don't even think she was kidnapped, what do you think happened, MJD? I mean, if people say they don't believe she was kidnapped, what do they mean by that? Do they mean that they think it was all a lie and it was all made up? Or, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
What?
like, are you saying that she walked out of the house on her own and it's all like just it's a hoax? Or you think that I don't understand what I don't
She's
even
gone
think
missing
she's kidnapped.
herself for whatever reason.
Oh,
Because now I'm just thinking that's what she's saying. Because that card was on the door about, you know, something else she could have been being abused or whatever. So maybe I'm thinking, this is what I'm thinking by people thinking she hasn't been kidnapped. Does it mean that she's gone herself? She's gone away? Maybe she feels pressured in what's going on, if anything's gone on. Or what way do you mean? No, I don't think she was alive. So you believe that? Do you believe that someone went in to take her and they've ended up unaliving it in there and obviously disposing? Or do you think it was meant to be a kidnap though? Or, I mean, people are saying now, did you think it was a robbery gone wrong? It wasn't a robbery. They never went in to rob, nothing was taken, and the bag was full. They couldn't have got any in it anyway. Or did they think that there was what is it in there where they keep the money? A safe?
yeah. Hope says that card made everything more suspicious that was left on the door. Well, the
Yeah.
thing with the card, I think Brian Inton actually is the one that said about the card that was on the door was that one of the neighbors had heard that she was missing or possibly abducted and called the abuse elderly line or whatever, and they came and left that on the door, which is
So
just
it was
really dumb.
afterwards.
Yeah, it was afterwards. The card wasn't
I
there.
thought it was there.
No.
Okay. Yeah,
Mary
something
Jane
happens.
says, yeah, go ahead.
Well, yeah, something happens. There's never been any proof of life. No, there hasn't. And they've all said that, haven't they? That's the first thing that a kidnapper will show is proof of
Right.
life. And so, do you believe every letter they received, and this is to you as well, Lee, or everyone, do you believe every letter that was received was a hoax?
Yes.
Do you? I've
I
started
don't
thinking
think.
down that avenue. I still think there's something gone on. It could be something to do with Savannah. Either she's hated this or someone's got a crush on her and thinks he's down, you know, hates her. So the next best thing to get in here is the mother. And they know how she feels about the mother. That's the one I've stayed with for more than anything. But I don't believe now that the letters after watching, like people who know what they're talking about, you know what I mean, saying they don't believe that there was no letters there because they would have asked for proof of life.
Right. I think it's really cool that Mary Jane Doe came in and said that, and then that started that conversation, because that's really what this live is about. I finally been catching up a little bit on some people that I've missed, and in particular, it was Ashley Banfield. And so she had 8 different panel guests. They weren't on at the same time. And each of the 8 have a different view of what could have happened, what might have happened based on their professional life, like what they've seen in real life. They're all retired law enforcement in some sort. You know, they could be FBI, they could be, they've got background in this. So I thought it was one of the best that she ever put out, just because she's got, and you know me, I love all different perspectives. I love listening to everybody's thoughts on it, because you could be right. I could be way off on what I'm thinking, but I will tell you, it did this for me for the second time since all this has happened. And that is, I again am getting my eyes off of the family. Because the way that they're so eloquent in how they say things, and the way they talk about it makes a lot of sense to me. And I have to just keep reminding myself, look, I'm just a mom, I'm a wife, and I'm a YouTuber, right? And they have real training in this. And for the most part, I try, whenever there's a crime I'm interested in, I try to come at it with a lot of common sense. My heart will get involved sometimes. My brain will do other things sometimes. But I mean, these people are the professionally trained people. They've got to know way more than what I know. So I liked it. I feel like this is one of the best ones I've ever seen her cover. And because she brought in 8 different perspectives, and I thought, we got to talk about that. We've got to talk about that. And it's not anything new because we've been doing these lives for as long as the crime's been going on, right? We've been talking about it. And it's not anything new that I haven't heard from chat. You know, the chat will come in and say, and give me their theory on it. So it's not any new theories. It's just listening to the professionals break it down and what they believe happened. So I thought that was good. I thought, well, let's just do a live on that and have a discussion about it. Hope says, I'm sorry, you guys. Hope says, didn't the ransom notes say something private? Well, one of the guys is going to talk about that. Ashley challenges him about that. And he's going to talk about it. Hi, Damage. Good to see you, love bug. I think the people who kidnapped her were paid to do it, and that is why the delay in the ransom email. I've always thought that all of the ransoms were hoaxes, just red herrings thrown in there to give somebody more time. But the way this guy explains it, and Ashley actually, she challenges him on it. And what he had to say about it, you guys, he was right on. I would have never thought the way he does. But like I said, they think differently than us. They don't. They just trained. And I don't think it's so much training, because I don't think you could be a good law enforcement person like FBI, sheriff, police. Investigator. I don't think you could be that unless your brain works and be good at it, unless your brain works differently. I mean, if you could go in and pass a test, you know, the physical and the mental and all that stuff, then that doesn't mean that you can be great at law enforcement. So these people who can think outside the box or even be Captain Obvious, but we're not even getting it, because what happens with like me is that I either read way too much into it and I'm just like, you know, dissecting it and trying to find the cherry in the whole bowl, you know what I mean? And just missing the most obvious thing, or I take the obvious route and I haven't thought about all of the things that it could be, you know what I mean? So that's what this is about. There are people that are going the obvious route, and there are some that are saying, wait a second, you didn't even look over here to the left and see what's going on. So this that I've got pulled up is an hour, a little over an hour long. I'm going to speed it up just a little bit. But like I said, she's got 8 different people that came on to talk about it they all have different professions within the crime world. I'm just going to put it like that. And so after each one of them talks, I thought, let's break that down. Have you ever given that any thought or anything like that? What says you, Maggie? I thought that was a great way to go about this. And
I love hearing what they have to say, because it makes so much more sense and it explains things.
Yeah.
Like the way you've been thinking, and I just love it. That's why I'll always listen to them.
Yeah.
Because they know what they're talking about.
They do know what they're talking about, even if they've got different.
Yeah, of course.
They've all got a different
views of what you believe.
Yeah. Right. But still, these people have solved real crimes. They know what they're talking about. And listen, it takes a lot to be a whole pie. You know what I mean?
Have you ever heard any of them, Lainey, saying that any one of them believed that there was a ransom note, that they were real?
No.
No, all of them I've listened to have said that they don't believe there was an answer, because it's the first thing they asked for.
Yeah, I've never heard anybody say it. But the way this guy breaks it down, when she challenges him about the ransom note, because she says the same thing I would have said. And he's like, he just kind of giggles, and he's so cute. But anyways, so that's what we're going to do. There's 8 different people. It's all on the same topic about where's Nancy, what happened in this crime, what does the perp look like. They've all got different thoughts on it, but every one of those thoughts makes sense. And like I said, it's nothing that we haven't heard before. It's just like, for me, I have a very small vocabulary. These people can put it in words that I'm just
Yeah,
like, wow,
brilliant.
okay, wait, yeah, that's good. That's good. I totally
Yeah.
understand that. Like, that is totally plausible to me. All right. So let's just get right into it, you guys. I know we're just a small group here right now. Maybe more will come in later. If not, it's okay. We got the best. We always have the best of the best here with the greatest minds. So let me pull this up. Maggie, you got anything you want to say before we jump
No,
right
I'm
on
eager
into
to
this?
listen because I've missed so much now.
Okay. So can you float that on the top, Maggie?
Yeah, give me a minute.
Thank you so
It's
much
not in the
for
way
that.
of what you've got, by the way, with it being. It's.
Well,
I'm
we'll
going to
take
put the
down.
copyright thing up out there,
Yes,
I think.
yeah, that'll be good. And what I need to do is try to figure out how we can float it from the bottom because we can't remove the stuff that we
Why?
see up there.
Right. I can't see that. Can you?
I can see it.
Oh,
Fair
it's at
use,
the top.
yeah,
Yeah.
gives allowance for this content to be used for purposes of criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. And that's what we're doing. Thanks to the mods for being here. I appreciate you guys so much. Thanks for everybody for being here. All I ask is that you hit the thumbs up and let's get into this. And
Can you make the screen bigger at all, Lee?
yes, and get into chat. Get into chat. Let us know what you think. That's really important to me and Maggie.
Yeah.
All right, our
Oh,
sources.
God, yeah, I love it.
Ashley Bamfield dropped Dead Serious. This is her YouTube page that she is doing now. She dropped this 18 hours ago. Let me give her a like. Thank you so much, girlfriend.
Excuse me, Lee.
Mm.
Hope says, but didn't the ransom note say something private? One of them did say that, didn't he, Lee?
Yeah,
One of
and
them
that's what I'm
mentioned something, and that's the only thing that's given me a little bit of,
actually.
you know,
Yeah,
but they've all
yeah.
said now.
They actually mentioned something. I think that two different things that was put out that the police didn't put out, and he covers it. You guys, I was like, what? Because that's
Wasn't it
exactly
something
what
that was in the house?
it was her. It was her Apple Watch. They didn't tell us about the Apple Watch. They only
No,
told
but
us
there was
about the
something
phone.
else.
They
There was something
also
else that
came out.
Babs mentioned.
They also came out and talked about her earplugs, and they had to say that afterwards because TMZ
Yeah.
put it out.
Yeah.
And then there was something else that had to do with. Those are the two big things, but the Apple. So he covers all that because that's exactly what she says. Wait a second. What about the Apple Watch? They mentioned stuff that the public didn't know anything about, and that's why the police took it serious. And he covers it, you guys. And I was like, wow, okay,
Yeah.
that's cool. All right, so we are using this for fair use. Like I said, I'm going to speed it up just a little bit. I think we can still understand it sped up a little bit. And then we'll listen to each of her guests talk because they're all going to give a different theory on what they believe happened.
Mm-hmm.
We'll listen to them all talk, and then we'll come back to chat and break it down, figure it out. Y'all watch your ears, okay? I cannot control your volume, and I don't know how loud this is. All right, here we go.
Based on the information they know. And it is a cornucopia of different concepts of what might have happened to Nancy Guthrie, what might have happened in that house, who might have done this, what kind of person, and how they might have actually executed this crime. It's fascinating to hear them all. And let me tell you, Spencer Corson, I've got Jim Clementi, I've got Tracy Wilder, I've got Casey Jordan, Maureen O'Connell, Douglas McGregor, Paul Holes, all the good ones. So you're in for a treat. Do me a huge favor. I appreciate you being here. Can you hit subscribe? It really does me a huge solid. And I thank you if you already have. And I thank you if you become a member as well. You're a special part of this group, this little group that we've gotten together. And thank you so much for your support. So let me just start with what happened today before I get into all of these incredible experts and their theories of what might have happened to Nancy Guthrie. For starters, Savannah went back to New York. And she paid a visit to the Today Show studios today. She didn't go on air. I wouldn't expect that for a while, but she did visit with her colleagues in the studio. And actually TMZ was outside the windows and they got like images of Savannah, you know, giving Hoda a big hug and her colleagues there. And it was very emotional. And you can see Savannah's in, you know, casual attire. She was not planning to be seen publicly, you know, on camera or otherwise. And so it was just those who were standing outside the window who saw this. But she was very, you know, emotional as she was hugging and, you know, greeting all of her colleagues there who have not seen her for over 5 weeks, right? The whole Olympics went on without her. They had to go about their business. Hoda came back to host for her. So I can tell you that this is what a Today Show spokesperson said about the visit, and I will quote them directly. Savannah Guthrie stopped by the studio this morning to be with and thank her Today colleagues. While she plans to return to the show on air, she remains focused right now, supporting her family and working to help bring Nancy home. And then later, NBC quoted what Savannah actually said to her colleagues. And let me read exactly what NBC put out. And this is Savannah apparently speaking. Quote, "I wanted you to know that I'm still standing and I still have hope and I'm still me. And I don't know what version of me that will be, but it will be. I am holding on to my faith," Savannah continues. "I still believe. And as my mom would say, where else would I go? I have every intention of coming back," Savannah continues, according to NBC. "I don't know how to come back, but I don't know how not to. You're my family, and I would like to try." It's just heart-wrenching if you think of it, because of course, Savannah has a new normal, right? This horrible crime has been visited upon her and her family. And I mean, anybody who's been through an enormous trauma, and I can tell you from experience because I lived through 9/11 and I was actually victimized down at the World Trade Center. You have to return to your normal. It doesn't feel the same. It's weird, but you need it. You need some semblance of your old normal back in your new normal. And I take that to be what Savannah is saying to her colleagues. I don't know what version of me I'm going to be. I don't know what, it's going to look like when I come back, but I have to try. And that makes perfect sense. And Savannah has children, young children, and she's got a husband and she's got a life in New York. And so trying to bring back that part of her world into her life, I can completely understand what she's trying to say and how difficult that it just might be. As far as what's happening in Nancy Guthrie's neighborhood, there was activity in the neighborhood. In fact, there was law enforcement today. So according to Fox, 3 investigators were seen canvassing the area. And one man was seen wearing a shirt that said FBI police. An interesting thing. I usually see FBI jackets that just say FBI or jackets that just say police. I don't know that I've seen FBI police before, but that is what Michael Ruiz reports. And we're seeing images that Michael Ruiz's team was able to get of these folks. They appeared to be going door to door and knocking on homes in Nancy's neighborhood and speaking with the neighbors. So here's why this is significant and why it may be different than the images we've seen before and the activity that we've seen before that was just like this. Because look, Nancy Guthrie's neighbors, they have been canvassed, right? In the early days, they have been canvassed. But this might be different, and here's why. Mike Ruiz from Fox Digital reports this. Pima County Sheriff's Department defers comment to the FBI on today's activity in Nancy Guthrie's neighborhood, which says to me, and probably says to you, they were not from the Sheriff's Department. They were probably FBI, maybe fresh eyes, maybe just a continuation of the FBI's investigation, but this was not Pima County activity. So fascinating. And then I can tell you this, Brian Enton from News Nation saw different activity later in the day and said this: FBI agents returned back to Nancy Guthrie's neighborhood, but the agents that he's photographing are different. They're different people. So it appears that today, 2 different sets of FBI agents were in Nancy Guthrie's neighborhood. So who could they be? Well, if you take Brian's reporting from yesterday, which was March 4th, this is what Brian said. The quote he got from the Pima County Sheriff's Department: "As part of the refocusing of resources, we have learned," this is Brian saying, "we have learned that 4 detectives and a sergeant from the Pima County Sheriff's Office have been assigned to a task force with the FBI to continue investigating Nancy Guthrie's disappearance. The task force will be stationed at the FBI office in Tucson." Now, Brian says this is a change from virtually all detectives working in the case. Brian says that he was told this, quote, is a change from virtually all detectives working in the case. So perhaps what you saw today is this task force, with whatever information these 4 detectives and the sergeant from Pima County have imparted on these FBI agents. It's hard to say what exactly they were doing, but clearly what's fascinating is that the bulk of the FBI officers who were working on this case moved back to the Phoenix headquarters at the FBI, but there were some people who stayed with a footprint. And now you're learning that this task force is operating out of the Tucson field office. So interesting. Sadly, Matt Finn from Fox also reports that the FBI, quote, tells me tips have tapered in the Nancy Guthrie investigation. And the FBI is still, quote, asking anyone with leads or information to call the FBI tip line at 1-800-CALL-FBI. 1-800-CALL-FBI is key here, because they're working out of that FBI office. I don't know how many officers they have there, but they only have 5 from the Pima County Sheriff's Department. And it is sad to hear that the tips have tapered. Here's one guess I have. The media was basically shooed away, and they left it en on the
Yeah.
exact day that the Pima County Sheriff's Department decided to put in these extremely oppressive parking restrictions, which basically went
Mhm.
for, blocks and blocks, long blocks, by the way, I should tell you, in this particular neighborhood of dusty desert road. So if you want to cover this story, you got to pack in and hike in on a very hot desert road all the way into Nancy Guthrie's neighborhood, and then have with you everything you need for the day: shelter, water, power, reporting gear, cameras, all the rest. Very difficult work, which is maybe coincidental as to why virtually everybody disappeared that day. The sheriff made it impossible, made it next to impossible to cover this story. And wouldn't you know it, just a few days later, the FBI says tips have tapered. Thanks, Sheriff. Now, clearly something else happened on Saturday. America attacked Iran, and the headlines just blew up for the most part on that massive story, that international story. And so the Nancy Guthrie story just hasn't been as prevalent. That, coupled with the fact that there's basically no reporting, virtually no reporting. Enton is still there. Brian Enton is still there. Fox is still there. And they've got coverage. But generally speaking, the headlines just diminished. Okay. And so, yeah, when the headlines diminish, guess what else diminishes? The tips. 1-800-CALL-FBI. We'll keep it going. 1-800-CALL-FBI if you know anything. All right.
Yeah.
So to the episode that I wanted to bring you today, which is so incredibly smart in terms of what you're about to hear from the experts that I've compiled. Basically, all of the people who do this for a living in various different aspects of criminal justice, from profiling to, FBI special agents to homicide detectives, to everybody who works in the business of trying to solve crimes like this, they are giving their take on what they think happened. And I want to start with Casey Jordan, with whom I have worked for decades on the air.
All right, guys, I want to jump in here really, really quick before we get into the 8 people that she's got. Thank you guys so much for being here. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up. We have to stop it every now and then so we don't get our channel taken away from us. Savannah keeps more power, the FBI says, to get answers if she stays in the spotlight. FBI also says agents and operational support employed have different assignments and they are going to do their mission. So now we know. All right, you guys, this is fascinating stuff to me. Like she's saying, there's 8 different thoughts here coming from different people that work in various positions within law enforcement or the true crime world. What says you, Mags? Oh, I thought you unblocked or opened up your mic. All right, let's jump right back into this.
Casey Jordan is an expert criminologist. She's a behavioral analyst, and she's also a lawyer. So here's my conversation with Casey about what she thinks might have happened in this crime. Let's face it, I cover some of the darkest crimes out there, but let me tell you, some of the worst stuff is actually happening right there behind your this information. Info, and Incogni's privacy team goes after it directly. It's not just peace of mind, it is power. So if privacy matters to you, and it should, go to incogni.com/dropdead and use my code dropdead because I got you 60% off. You're welcome. Again, that's incogni.com/dropdead. Use the code dropdead to start taking your data off the market today. Casey, based on what we know, and of course, acknowledging what we don't know, what do you think happened?
It's so easy to become a podcaster with Riverside. First, go to Riverside and open an account. When you're ready to...
Listen, our theories have gone up and down like a roller coaster over the last 5 weeks as all of this information, some of it fresh, some of it contradictory, some of it walking back. I mean, it really has been, everyone's like, don't speculate, but that's exactly what we do. If you're involved in criminology and investigative profiling, that is what we do. And the speculation on what kind of person we're dealing with changes as the evidence is presented to us. So my opinion about what happened has changed over the last few weeks. But at this juncture, as we enter week 5, and everything has cooled off in the last 2 weeks with almost nothing new under the sun, I really do believe that this is a bungled burglary. And remember, the criminal law definition of burglary is the breaking and entering with the intent to commit a felony. That felony could be kidnapping, it could be sexual assault, it could be grand larceny or theft. So what the intent of the person breaking in is unknown to us, but it was the guy on the porch and that footage of him walking like a bumbling idiot and picking up the flowers and jamming them in the camera and walking back off the porch. Sometimes he has his backpack, sometimes he doesn't. I really do think that this is the work of an amateur. And everyone's like, no, then how could he have gotten away with it? That's how, because I call it beginner's luck. We don't have him in the DNA database. We don't have him with a criminal record that would lead us to him. This is somebody who wanted to get into that house. And I hate to say this, but little old lady houses are supreme targets for burglars because little old ladies tend to have a ton of jewelry, lots of gold and silver, lots of sterling. No, they don't have electronics and stuff. They have valuable things that can fit in a backpack and you can take them with you. So we have the idea that this person may have cased the joint. Listen, maybe he saw Nancy leave in the Uber and hadn't realized she had come home. Who knows how long he had been watching that house, but I'm pretty sure that he knew the little old lady lived there. Once he got inside, the question is, was he expecting Nancy to be in there or not? Here's my true belief. This was not an intended kidnapping. Why? Because I actually don't even think the intruder knew who Nancy Guthrie was, that she is the mother of Savannah Guthrie. If we had a kidnapping for profit, which we operated from the beginning, as it's got to be because we had all of those communications to TMZ and the local news station asking for the Bitcoin, 4 million, 6 million. They were all a hoax, I believe, and I think the police are convinced at this point as well. But if you want to kidnap Savannah Guthrie's mother for profit, you come in like ninjas, and it's going to be more than one of you. You have a stealthy car that's never going to be picked up on a camera. You're in, you're out. You can disarm those cameras so that they're not even in the back archives of the Google Nest system. You spray paint the lens. You come in, out, gone. Okay.
Or you use a jammer, which means it doesn't even see you approach.
Exactly. But let's say you use a jammer and you still come and you spray paint the lens. You don't go pick flowers and jam them in the camera. I mean, that's absurd. Yeah. I actually do think that this is the work of one person. I know that's the more difficult way to do it, but we have 42 minutes, give or take, from the time that that signal was cut to the time that we have that person.
The pacemaker separating. Yeah.
Pacemaker separating, 42 minutes. That is a bungling burglar. That is somebody who's probably been going through the house. Remember, Nancy wore hearing aids, took them out at night. He could have been in there with the pen light in his mouth, picking and choosing and going through her jewelry box and stuffing his backpack with candlesticks. I'm making this up.
Would they let us know, though, by now? Would the police say this was a robbery, things were stolen, look for these items? I mean, if these things were stolen, you would think that right away they would get out to all the pawn shops, they would get out to fencing, and they would ask the public, if you see these items, let me know who it is.
I think that would be a holdback. I really do. Not to say they're not checking pawn shops, but first and foremost, the family has to know what's missing. Do you know every piece of jewelry in your mother's jewelry box?
Good point.
Do you know if the silver candlesticks are missing? Do you know where she keeps the coin collection? Listen, I have had burglaries at my home, and just getting the inventory together for me, the owner of the stuff that was stolen, is a monumental task. Nobody I know would be able to tell you what was in my house and what wasn't.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. If you think this is a burglary for the purpose of committing the felony of thievery, and that something went wrong, what do you think would have gone wrong given that Nancy had the powerful hearing aids, and when you take them out at night to sleep, you don't hear anything. You can't be disturbed.
Oh, no. You can see a flashlight flashing in your bedroom. You can, what if all of a sudden a chair tips over? What if a table tips over? There can be vibrations and light. Maybe he comes in and turns the light on, and that wakes her up. I wouldn't be at all surprised if Nancy was alerted, awakened, maybe shaken awake, maybe heard something, saw something, maybe got up to go to the bathroom or get a glass of water and saw somebody rifling through her dining room candlesticks.
You just gave me an idea. Maybe shaken awake, give me those rings that you're wearing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought of that.
The bottom line is that she is feisty. She may be older and have some health issues, but everyone agrees Nancy is feisty. She's not, she's not going to do anything stupid, but in a scuffle, she could have ripped his mask off, maybe recognized him as somebody who worked for her 10 years ago. Maybe scratched him, had the DNA under her fingernails. Hey, maybe she fell and hit her head, went unconscious. Maybe it was purely an accident. Maybe she had a heart attack. And this bumbling burglar is like, oh my God, no one will ever believe that I didn't kill her, that this was an accident. I'm not going down for this. I just came here for some gold and silver. What if he tried to give her mouth to mouth? What if she clawed at him and got DNA under her fingernails? He is going to take that body, Nancy, dead or alive, out of the house to maximize his chances of never getting caught. The blood droplets, probably from a bloody nose. It's not gushing blood. It's not from a stabbing. We would know that. If she had been shot or stabbed, we would know that.
Or but listen, I always say this, that my mom is 87, and if she bumps into something, she bleeds. Her skin will just tear.
Yeah,
it's so delicate. So that could have
fragile. Been. Yeah. Literally, you can pull somebody up by their wrists and their skin will split. If
and the blood thinners.
It happened with my dad. Yep.
The blood thinners means it's a bloodbath. Yeah.
But it's not the kind of blood that's fatal. It's just the kind of blood that will leave droplets through the house and out on the porch. Yeah. I don't know whether she walked out of her own volition. Seems unlikely, but again, the camera was cut by 2:28 in the morning. We don't know if she was taken
or 2:12.
2:12. 2:12.
Yeah.
Carried out, taken out. Listen, do not underestimate the ability of a sole perpetrator under the influence of adrenaline and panic to A, do really stupid things, and B, to have superhuman strength. So everyone's like, this has to be the work of many people. Well, if it were incredibly organized and well planned and a ninja kidnapping, I would say, of course, there was more than one person. But I think that the bumbling idiot we see on that porch is probably your sole perpetrator. And he took her from the house to minimize his chances of getting caught. And not even $1 million on the table is going to solve this if that's the case.
Casey Jordan, it's why I call you. You're just so skilled at what you do. Thank you for this.
It's all just speculation. I just want to, again, we both know Savannah, we want her mother to be found alive, but to be returned, recovered, just so we have answers. There is a special hell for never knowing what happened. And I don't want Savannah or the Guthrie family to go through that. So let's get her.
I like the way you think, though, that what you're doing, and you say it's pure speculation, but that's literally what the professionals are doing right now. They are gaming out every possibility and then going down those rabbit holes. So thank you for helping us to understand a little bit more about what's actually happening.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks, Casey.
Great to be here, Ashley.
My thanks to Casey.
All right, y'all, there's one. So she believes, and she's a behavioral analysis person. Sorry, I was eating grapes. Anyways, she believes that it was a burglary gone wrong. What says you? I mean, plausible, yes. But do you remember? He went in with the backpack already full. And what would he need a gun for?
Mm-hmm.
What says you, Maggie?
Yeah,
I mean,
do you know what I'm even thinking now? The way the gun look, I keep looking at it. Was it real? Was it just to be used to frighten it?
could have been. That's could have been. Absolutely.
Mm.
Although I did see, now he doesn't know for sure, but there are guns out there that look very real and they're not.
Yeah.
But
And
I
you
do
can paint
remember
them
seeing,
because you
right?
can get the BB
Mhm.
ones, can't you? And they've got to be like orange on them or something now. Well, they have here. You can't get an all black one. I don't know whether you can. Can you still get the all black one?
I seem to remember that there went a law about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, people in this chat might know. Yeah, JB, if you look at Ashley's eyes now, it's the same. A lot of them are now. It annoys me. Underneath the eyes, the highlighter, can't stand it.
Maggie
I want to
notices
rub it
eyes.
in.
I will let you guys know, Maggie, if Maggie is on a call with you or FaceTime with you, she's going to be totally squaring up every inch of your looks. I get that from experience with Maggie.
Oh,
But-
that sounds terrible, Dolly, as if
No,
I'm
no.
I don't do that, do I, in that way? Please tell me that.
No, I was just kidding. That's just a joke. What you do that, you're like,
No.
Mimi, your eyes, like, you have the most magnificent this, you have the
I
most
will always
magnificent
give
that.
you compliments if I think I see pretty in someone. It's just who
I
I
do
am.
too.
Like, I see your blue eyes, and Leanie's got very, very fair eyes and eyebrows. So I said to her, see, I don't think about what I'm saying, but I am giving a compliment when I say it. I said, do you know if you had your eyebrows darkened and you darkened your lashes, I said, you would be stunning. And it's, I wasn't saying she's not lovely. I just meant because she's got that potential, because her eyelashes are so fair and long, it would look gorgeous. That's what I meant by that.
I do have an appointment to get that done for Maggie. So she would be like,
Look at JB, look at all hiding the eyes. Oh no, I only ever say it to give someone a compliment. I've never pulled you down, Lee, have I? I've never said, oh
No.
my God.
no,
I
but
would
you
never
are
do that.
honest with me. You are, but we're like
yeah.
each other. We're very much like that. You're
Yeah.
like, get in there,
If
get
you'd
your
asked
eyes
me-
done. Get your eyebrows done. It's driving me crazy. Can't see you.
Yeah. She did,
All right.
honestly.
So she believes that this is it was a burglary gone wrong. I say two things:
Yeah.
backpacking gun. The backpack was completely full. Where was he supposed to put the stuff? What was
Exactly.
in the backpack?
And there was no one that had been robbed in the area out there. I know
not
someone was outside someone's house, but nobody broke in anywhere and taken anything, so it wasn't full of loot. And
So
the
what I want to
professionals
know,
that I watched said it was a blanket or a tarp in that. The way
so what
they
I
could
want
tell.
to know about that though, that's a good point, Maggie, because you know, when they started coming out with this and they asked the public for video from a certain day to a certain day, and then remember people started posting, this is my footage, or this is from so and so, and this is from the mother of a friend of an uncle of an aunt, and this was, and then come to find out those weren't even the days they were asking for. So we have to be careful, you know, with the stuff that we hear and see, and make sure it's validated. Because I even too jumped on that. I was like, oh my God, that person right down the street, somebody was walking in their driveway. Come to find out, you guys, it was like 3 months prior. All right, let's go to the next theory. Let's go to the next theory here.
See, Jordan, Spencer Corson. He is a former U.S. Army Ranger and Special Deputy U.S. Marshal. He is a threat management expert. He wrote the book, The Safety Trap, and he knows a lot about crimes like this and bad guys. Here's my conversation with Spencer. So, Spencer, what do you think happened here?
I went back and looked at all my notes, and I kind of went back to first principles. And when anytime there's a missing elderly person, number one, most probable medical or cognitive incident, we've already ruled that out. Number two is someone who is familiar with the individual. That's statistically the next most likely thing. And then third, at a very low percentage, is the stranger on stranger crime. I think there are a lot of indicators that still outline that second, someone who's familiar with Nancy, someone who knew her, that is most likely, that is, I believe, to be the most likely outcome of this. And I think it just might at this point be that they have a pretty good idea of what happened. They're just not able to prove it yet.
So given the facts that we know, which, agreed are limited because they don't release all the investigative details, but we've had sources that have said blood droplets inside the house, back door wide open, blood droplets that continue, we've seen with our own eyes down the front walk.
No sign of forced entry.
No, well, I have my source said sign of forced entry, and that back door is wide open. And then the sheriff said she was taken from her bed in the middle of the night. Then he backtracked it. But then Savannah came out with an Instagram saying she was taken from her bed in the dark of night. So what do you think may have happened in that house?
Are you researching dental implants?
There's a lot of dental offices that'll talk about doing their teeth in the day process.
If you are looking at a motive methodology or a motive framework of need, greed, profit, and revenge, all four of those things are emotionally volatile. And so if you go to someone and you're not, you have it all planned out how it's going to go exactly like this. And we've all been in those situations where I'm going to go over and I'm going to say this, and then they're going to say that, and I'm going to say this. And you are so emotional in that construct that as soon as an unforeseen variable is introduced, you get really panicked. We see this in domestic violence encounters, especially, where the abuser is so used to having control that as soon as the victim is saying that they're going to leave, that offender goes up in right in their application of violence just to reinstitute control. And that can be the most lethal time in an intimate partner violence setting. It's the same thing in familiar dynamics. When you have this grievance and you have this ideation that you can do something about it, and then that ideation is starting to fail in front of your eyes, you can push someone and they can fall and hit their head. You can hit them and not intend to hit them that hard. There's a million things that can happen. And then you go into panic mode. And, whether you were supposed to be there and the DNA that they found, you can, write off as being
do you
valid.
think then, are you saying that you think it might have been a grievance that resulted in, say, a push and an accident and something was unforeseen?
Yes, I do not think my instinct, my background, and what I know about this case basically demonstrates to me that if you're going to take someone, the best place to take them is not at home. The best place to take them is in transit. This is why ambushes in the military, we don't attack the base. We attack them when they're going from one base to another base. So if you're going to try to abduct someone, in transit is the best place to do it, not at home, because you can control more of the environment, of the when, the how, and you have time to plan if you're getting a pattern of life in place.
And yet it still happens.
It still does happen, but it's a very rare occurrence. And since there has been nothing in the DNA and the forensics and in all of the technical capability that we have applied to all of these different possibilities, and we're still coming up with zero, then that kind of reframes the expectation that this was an insider threat.
I always come back to the expression Mike Tyson once said, everyone has a plan until you get punched in the face. And is that effectively what you're saying here, is that there might have been a plan for this household that did not involve taking Nancy from her bed in the dark of night, as Savannah said, but something went completely askew in a burglary or something else?
Yeah, or just a fear campaign or an influence campaign, or maybe she had some kind of valuables there that they needed or wanted, or they needed her signature, or she had something on her computer that they needed or wanted. There's a whole lot there, but insider threat is still where all of these arrows are pointing for me.
And when you say insider threat, you mean
someone who knew her well, who was part of a close friend, family, or a circle of people of influence in her
could
life.
that also include contractors, people who've worked there, maybe just had 2 or 3 words or got a lemonade once when they were working in the yard?
I would put them more into like the stranger component. That would be more of like a target of opportunity. And when you see violence, or especially like predatory violence enacted, it's when opportunity meets vulnerability. I've seen that with people who have valuables in their home and contractors hit it, and then when they know the family's on vacation, they'll go and take the gold, or they'll take this, or they'll take that. But if you're going to do that, there's an old saying in my world where if someone comes during the day, they're coming for your stuff. If they come at night, they're coming for you. And so you take that into consideration.
Wow, that's ominous. Spencer, thank you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
My thanks to Spencer Corson.
All right, so there we go. There's that. Hi, Aussie True Crime. Good to see you. Am I up here? Can you guys hear me? I don't know what happened. What happened?
Sorry, love, I was on mute. I can hear you.
Did you guys? Okay.
Yeah, we listened. We could
No,
hear. Well, I could.
No, for some reason I've got you on the screen and not Ashley Bamfield.
But I heard someone talking.
I know, but what I'm saying is I've got.
You can't put. So you need to share it again.
No, I won't share it again. It's just that for some reason, look at your screen. I see you on the screen and not Ashley.
Yeah,
Bamfield.
I know what you mean.
And I don't know how that happened or why it happened. Here, let me add back to the stage. There we go. Okay, so this guy, and we've seen him before on, he's been interviewed by Ashley Bamfield before. And he's saying, and it's an inside job. He's saying that somebody close to the family, not even, he's not including like people that have actually worked on her home or anything. He's saying somebody with inside knowledge about Nancy's life, her assets, what she's done in her life. And he also believes it's a burglary. He believes it was a burglary or to go into her home to get some information out of a computer or off of her, herself, and something that threatened themselves. So I kind of am on that theory too, kind of, whereas I believe it to be someone that is very, very close to her, but I haven't heard yet from any of these people that it is truly a money thing. I don't necessarily think they went in for jewels. Not that we're going to know. We do know that the family went back. Well, we don't know for sure, but most of us agree that the family, the day that the FBI and the prosecution and all that showed up at her house, the car that was swept into the garage, we believe that was family that was there. Maybe they were brought in, and this is what I fully believe now, that they were brought in to see if they could identify anything that had been stolen out of the house. But just like the other lady said, Casey, whatever her name is, prior to this dude, I mean, how many do you know what was in your mom's jewelry box or in her safe? I mean, she could be obtaining stuff. It could be like a thrift store thing for me, right? My husband couldn't tell you what all I've got, and he walks past it every damn day because I'm always obtaining something else. You know what I mean? It's my jam. So could jewelry been her thing? Could coins have been her thing? All these things.
If I thought it was a robbery, then I'd think that, they think she's got a safe, she's got a good amount of money hidden there. But I don't believe it was. But they know more than us.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I just keep also going back to like the 40 minutes The 40 minutes, that to me does say they spent time there to look something over, and like you said, all
Yeah.
the papers
Yeah,
that
they said
were
they'd been around, yeah.
strewn all over her table, those papers that you were talking about. Did it have something to do with the whistleblowing? Did it have something to do with what she knew about Medicaid, Medicare? We don't know.
And like you say, they said nothing was taken. But let's be honest, would you know every single thing that your mother has? I mean, if
No.
they're going to take anything, it'd be like you say, jewelry, money, or what else would they take?
Coins, anything that's going to have some kind of
Of a
value that you
value?
can sell right
Yeah.
now.
Would they haven't noticed like anything to do with, say, paintings or
Yeah, I
ornaments or
mean,
stuff like that?
I couldn't imagine them taking paintings out of the house or anything big like that. Plus
You know,
taking a
means
body.
small, something
Oh
small.
yeah.
You know, if there was something, I understand big paintings they wouldn't, but just something small that they'd taken. So, I mean, they're going to get, for the time they were in the house, if they were going to get into the safe, they would have got in by then, or would they? I mean, I know these
If
big
she
safes
gave
are
them,
very heavy, aren't they?
if
So they
she
wouldn't
gave
get,
them the you know, if I mean, I didn't think about that till you just now said that. That's pretty amazing. Could they have woke her up and said, "Look, we need the combo to be safe."
yeah.
And she was like, "I'm not giving it to you." And there was some violence, and that's what caused her to bleed.
Yeah, and they haven't put it out there yet.
Mhm.
That's
So-
what's being taken. So
Yeah, because they're going to lie to us, right? They're going to say, no, nothing was taken. No, nothing was taken. But they don't have to tell us that. So what about, there was
So
something
maybe
else.
that's what they've been doing. She was still asleep in bed. They knew the dog wasn't there because it's someone who's, like you say, knows about her. And they've been, you know, been messing with that safe, trying to work it out, whatever. And in the end, they've had to get her, drag her up, hold the gun to her, like it's real, but I don't think it was. And because at the place it was in, I mean, I wouldn't have a clue about a gun, but I know you don't hold one there. And they've said to her, give us the combination. And that's how they dragged her. And maybe she's got hurt and they've never meant to, and they've had to then go and dispose.
Very possible. But would they have taken the time to shut the safe back? Because we know locksmiths were there, right? And then we did hear what sounded like, yeah, to me in the end, it sounded completely like a skill saw or a hand saw.
Yeah, you said you could hear drilling going on in there, didn't you?
But
So
in the
maybe
beginning,
that's what it is.
yeah, drilling. So what were they? They were definitely doing something in there, whether they were cutting some things out of the wall, some I don't know, hopefully DNA on it or something. I don't know. Or it could very well have been
I mean, where would be the likely place to keep her safe? Do they have certain places in there? I don't know.
well, some people have safe rooms actually, and then some people not. I don't want you to think that there's wall-to-wall safes in there. What I mean by safe rooms is like a room, like a shelter room or a hiding room, and that's where they keep safes.
Says
and
maybe she couldn't think of the safe combo in distress.
Yes, because I think I would struggle with that.
I
I'd be
think,
like,
my head to go blank, with the phrase.
Yeah, true. And then they had no, but then when he said too, or Casey actually said it, what happens if they're, you know, they were being violent with her and she did grab that head. I mean, it's not like it was glued to his neck. She could have grabbed his thing, and then at that point it changed the game.
Yeah.
But I still have to go back to the backpack was full.
Yeah.
What was it full of?
Yeah.
That's what I have to
Well,
go back to.
as I said, you know, where I listen and they know what they're talking about, and they said they think, well, he said he thinks it looked like a blanket or a tarp. And if they're in there, there's definitely going to be cable ties, duct tape. He says it's like a kill kiss.
It's a kill kit. Yeah, exactly. And another guy talks about that on the next one. Yes, I heard there are panic rooms that in that area, and JB says the safe would have been at the front door, or it would have been in a closet or somewhere inside the house. Yeah, usually closets, right? I mean, that's where we kept ours at. It was in the closet. Which I don't know why you got fuck. I think we just kept ours in the closet, just keep it out of the way. I mean, safes are ugly. They're not exactly part of the decor. All right, let's go to another one. Let's listen to another person's take on it.
Jim Clementi, again, someone I have worked with for decades in the business of criminal justice. He is a retired FBI supervisory special agent and a profiler, and he's a former New York State prosecutor. He has a lot to say about this particular crime and what he thinks might have happened. Here's my conversation. So, Jim, from a behavioral perspective, what do you think happened at Nancy's home?
Well, I believe that the person that we saw in the videos from the door camera was the abductor. And I believe that this person had some connection to either Nancy Guthrie or Savannah Guthrie. And that connection may have been in his own mind. In other words, he may have been fixated on the celebrity of it. And if so, I think this person probably has a history of actually being fixated on female celebrities. And because of some set of circumstances, he felt that Nancy was available and vulnerable at this moment. Now, that could be because he drove her in an Uber or did some repairs at her house, or maybe delivered something to her house and determined that she lived there alone. But there's some reason why he felt that, again, she was alone and vulnerable at that particular time. But I also think that...
Have you guys seen the girls that are drawing all over their shirt with a Sharpie just to see if the bra actually gave all?
Seeing him in the video, we're talking probably somebody who's not in his 50s or 60s, but probably in his 30s or 40s, and maybe is a male, but maybe somebody who is familiar with that area. I believe that he would have, before the events, so say 5-6 weeks ago, he would have been demonstrating a tremendous level of stress preceding these events. And then again, on the 10-day after the abduction, the 10th day, when his images were released, I think his stress shot through the roof. And I think his behavior changed. There are people who live around him or with him or work with him or socialize with him. And he definitely changed at that point. And he may have done things like left town for an emergency, hid or painted his car, done something to basically obscure his own features. And he may have, if he does, in fact, which it looks like, have a tattoo on his right wrist, which was exposed when he was trying to cover up the camera, then he may be trying to remove that or actually cover it up with another tattoo. So,
but do you think he, this perpetrator, went there with the express purpose to kidnap an 84-year-old woman and take her out of that home alive or dead? Like, what do you think happened inside the home?
Well, that, obviously that's the million-dollar question. The fact is that there would be no reason for him, if he went there for a robbery and then things went wrong and she ended up getting hurt or killed, there would be no reason for him to take her. Unless his motivation was 100% kidnapping, that's one option, then he would obviously have to take her. Or if his motivation was some sort of fixation on her and he wanted to be with her, then that's another reason why he might want to take her. The third reason is if there is a known connection between him and her or him in that location at that time. In other words, he would feel, if he had, for example, if he had to make a delivery at that time, if he had to, if he just recently made a delivery or repairs or did work there at the house, then he might have felt that people would look at him. So he might want to take her to just delay discovery. But I think actually the biggest issue in this case is the fact that these ransom letters were sent to a local CBS affiliate and to TMZ, just putting it out in the media immediately. And that is the most actually outrageous thing that he did, because generally kidnappers want to get the money. That's their purpose.
But you don't think that he's the person who sent the letters? Many of us felt as though this was a separate crime from just grifters who wanted to make a bad situation worse.
If that's the case, I think law enforcement is reporting that he had the letter, at least one of the letters had specific information about the placement of her watch in the home. That information...
I could guess that. My watch is always charging beside my bed. So many people charge their watch beside their bed,
Yeah. Well, that may be the case, but to put it in there actually was a high risk situation. If you actually were trying to get the information, you were trying to give the information to get the money, then you wouldn't take a risk like that. Yes, the broken light outside was observable for people outside. But if that letter is real, and again, I wish that Jim Fitzgerald and I could go through the actual text of that letter, because that would tell us a tremendous amount. We've got a lot of experience analyzing letters that are used in kidnapping cases, authentic letters. And I'd like to know all the details. But assuming it is, if it is connected to the actual abduction, then that motivation spills out what this guy really wants, and that is attention. Whether he wanted the attention from Nancy Guthrie or from Savannah Guthrie or from the public in general, that is what those letters tell me. That is a cry for attention that is very unusual in a kidnapping case.
So you think those letters might be real? Or I mean, there's 3 different iterations, right? There's the original,
Correct.
then there's the alleged liar from California, and then there's the third one that started peppering TMZ only with a brand new wallet address and brand new language.
Right. I don't know if any of the other ones, other than the one that mentioned her watch, any of them are related at all. However, I do believe that if there was a very specific set of information that only the abductor would know in those letters, then they are generally thought to be authentic. But here's the thing. If that wasn't his intent, taking her away from the home is the highest risk behavior he could have done.
Yeah.
Breaking into her home is high risk enough, but taking her away, that brings the crime with him. It puts her DNA wherever he is or in his vehicle, and it connects him. He could get stopped. He could get seen. Those are really high risk behaviors. And
He's
generally,
either
we
got to
don't see that
harbor,
happen.
right? Jim, he's either got to harbor her alive, a woman who's in ill health, or if she's not alive, he's got to somehow conceal that and dispose of the body. All of that extraordinarily difficult.
Right. But not only extraordinarily difficult, useless unless there's a known connection between the two of them, or that was his intent in the first place, to take her and kill her.
For fun?
It makes no sense that way. However, when you have some certain stalker situations, especially when they feel like they have a connection with a celebrity because the celebrity is very kind and very friendly and speaks to her audience, he could feel that he's being spoken to. And therefore, he developed in his mind this whole relationship. And at some point, he may have reached out to her. I would certainly look at all the letters, all the fan letters that Savannah has gotten over the years. And if Nancy has gotten any, I would look at those. And I would try to find out whether there's somebody who at some point expressed a desire to be with her or be closer to her or get contact from her, and they didn't get it. And then maybe it switched and maybe the letters got angry, or maybe he went silent and this is the way he got her attention.
Hi, I'm Kate. I know so many of my peers and their younger siblings who struggle with mental and
La la
behavioral
la
issues.
la la
And I'm
la
only 16.
la la
Yep,
la la la
for
la
real.
la
If you have a
la
child
la
like
la
me, then you know they
la la.
Or got revenge?
Yes, revenge is also a possibility.
So let's talk about revenge for just a hot minute, because that is a hell of a job. For revenge, if that's the motive, my God, the risk level, the exposure, the danger, and the hassle, all of those. Does that look like it's even possible, a revenge motivation?
Well, if it's tied to fixation or stalking, yes, it does. But if it's not tied to that, if it's revenge for some kind of slight that happened or some kind of brushing off or something, it doesn't sound like it. And although this guy had put in some preparation, some significant amount of preparation, he was not a professional. This is not something that he's done before. He bumbled his way through the dealing with that door cam, and he exposed a lot of himself in that process. Not only his height, his weight, generally his age, how he moves, but also his eyes and the fact that he appeared he had a mustache. He also would have exposed his mouth, which meant he's breathing his DNA into the crime scene. His eyes and eyelashes and eyebrows and his mustache, all those hairs, because they're rubbing against that face mask, could have fallen out at the crime scene. All of those things exposed him
Never got
to
any in that.
basically discovery and identification.
Well, if any of them were collected, this has been such a big frustration, is that they might not have been collected, whatever DNA.
might not have.
Took his bite light out of his mouth. It's on the fingers of the gloves, which touched some, entry
Absolutely.
and egress to the house.
Absolutely. And, I sort of cringed when I saw afterwards people entering the house, grabbing the doorknob and twisting it and just thinking, well, did they just take away or contaminate the DNA that was left there? Now, hopefully the crime scene people that initially processed the house did a lot of vacuuming and maybe used certain tools that are out there like MBAC to collect DNA. Hopefully they did that, because that kind of stuff you can't see with your eyes.
Right.
So you basically have to sort of sweep certain areas and try to get the high probability areas where he would have contacted her, the front door, and also obviously her bedroom, because it was late at night.
So just sort of in a nutshell, I know it's hard, but given the person you saw at the door, bungling fool, I would say, fully prepared backpack, fully prepared disguise, and the possibility that he'd been there before casing, given the fact that those two images are now, according to sources from different days. Do you think he was there to take Nancy, or do you think he was there to take or do something else and ultimately had to take Nancy?
The thing that gives me pause, I mean, generally I would say he was there to take Nancy. That's what he did. But what gives me pause is the amount of time it took him to accomplish that goal. If it actually did, if he was actually in the home about 41 minutes, that's a hell of a long time.
A lot of people have said that. I'm not so sure. We don't know when entry was made to the home. All we know is that a camera was disabled at 1:47 a.m. and an image showed up on another camera, or maybe the same one at 2:12 a.m. But we don't know when the home was actually breached.
Correct. That's why I said if he was in there for 41 minutes, that takes a long time. Now, it may have taken him a lot longer to get in. I don't know how he got in, whether it was through the back door, which apparently was left open. That to me tells me that if he tried to get in the front door and then tried to get in this back door and then ended up leaving, most likely through the front door, it wasn't a significantly well-planned event. However, what I would say is, I think he did intend to take her. That's what he actually did. If it was a burglary gone bad, I don't believe there's any reason he would have taken her. If it was a revenge motive or a sexual motive, I think in neither of those cases, it would be necessary for him to take her. And therefore, I think he did, in fact, intend to take her. That's what he did. What the big question is, what did he do with her?
Jim Clemente, thank you. It's so much to ponder. It's also disturbing, but it is the question that's on everyone's mind. So
All right. So there is there's another theory, and that's the third one that says that he intended to take her. I'm still saying no. I'm still saying he didn't intend to take her. No, there's only a couple of scenarios that I could think of that he would have intended to take her, but I'm going to let us finish hearing other people's thoughts, because I think they're going to come out with it. But way up there, somebody had talked about, haven't we read at least one of the supposed ransom notes? No, there was only pieces of it that TMZ gave out. They didn't give the whole ransom note out. And then we have never seen the one that came to the news station. But Maggie, I want to talk about the supposed ransom note. When this first came out, remember you and I were talking, and I said, I wonder if this was about Savannah and she got a heads up, maybe in her email, and she either ignored it or just didn't see it by a crazed fan, and if you don't give us this money, we're coming to get your mom. And if you don't give us this money, then you're not getting her back. Or if you don't meet with me or something like that. So I thought about that when he said that too. I think I still, unless they found, they're not going to tell us, but unless they found something in Savannah Guthrie's emails that gave her some sort of heads up, or it started the stalking at that point, I still say every one of the ransom things are just a red herring. It's just stupid people trying to get fame and notoriety off this. And I'm sorry, the one thing I disagreed with this guy about was when he said that there was something the guy was looking for, either to get Savannah's attention, to get something off of Nancy Guthrie, or just to get fame. I don't think this was about fame at all. If this was about fame, he would have kept sending ransom notes or found other ways to be, to put himself out there, to make himself. I mean, how are you going to get fame if you're, I guess just being able to say when you're 100 years old, I was the dude that got off on the Nancy Guthrie case. I understand there are people like that, but I just think if you're going to have that big of an ego, I think it's going to come out in other ways too. You're not going to stop right there. Shag says he still thinks it's tomato. Still. The Great One says, I was speaking with my teenagers and their friends last night. Rhea, the bite, light, and DNA. I said, put a plastic spoon in your mouth and tell me how quickly saliva collects. How did it do?
True. That's true. That anything in your mouth will collect saliva, anything like that.
And I didn't
Yeah.
even think about, I saw the facial hair, you could clearly see it, but how often do you shed an eyelash or an
Yeah.
eyebrow? I mean, so imagine something being against his beard, and you know that thing's moving around. And
Yeah.
his facial hair, it could have dropped. I'm scared to think that they did not bring that vacuum type thing in there. I just don't think.
No.
Maybe we should ask JB, who is our FBI retired agent here, but I just think being within 30 hours of giving the crime scene back to the family the first time, that's not enough time to totally process a crime scene.
No.
I wouldn't think. That's a big ass house. That's a 5-bedroom house. How are you going to process in 30 hours a crime scene? Total vacuuming, total everywhere, taking swabbing for fingerprints or DNA or something. Checking the bathroom, taking apart the sinks for DNA that he may have washed his hands or something in. And the other thing is, this is the other thing. The other thing, I just forgot it because I read what Shag said. They still didn't give the car back to Annie. The other thing I was thinking was, that's pretty brilliant, because I hadn't thought about that either. That yes, there is so we have a time frame from the time we see him walk up to the camera till the time when Nancy Guthrie's pacemaker, right? So we have that time frame. That doesn't necessarily mean that he was actually inside the house at that time. Well, we know he wasn't, because we watched him on the porch for a few minutes, right? But then maybe that's another thing. If he did work alone, and to me, that's not out of the question now, rethinking all this. If he found himself, because he had to penetrate 2 doors there with several locks, right? You had to get through the first metal door, and then you had to get through the door, right? And how much time that would take. So and then remember when they were showing all the FBI agents and the attorneys and stuff outside the little porch area.
The door where he was trying. Is there just that one door there, and he hasn't got to get through anything else? Like, so we call it the vestibule, as you know, you laugh. So if you've got a vestibule, there's another door to come through. So if you come through my front door, I've got a little weeny vestibule, a little square piece, and then another door that has got a lock on it, which we don't use. So is that her main door, and that's it then?
That would be her. Most houses in the States that I know of, and I've lived a lot of places in the States, no, we don't have that. We have a little open area. We'll have like a little walk-through area. I can't think of the word right now, but it's not usually a locked door.
Like a hallway. Like a hallway.
Yeah, it's a little vestibule area, or whatever you would call that. The entryway, I think, is what we call it.
Yeah, or some people have like it built outside with another door on. It's got glass windows.
That's usually like off the kitchen or something. You get a little mud room in there. So yeah, those are like in farmhouses and things like that, and I adore those, by the way.
Yeah.
But those are not like in these types of houses in this kind of area, I wouldn't think. Jay Brad says, if the FBI ERT went in, they used a vac, but if it was a compromised crime scene, maybe not. Julio says, have they really given it back? I was thinking they have placed cameras completely inside and out. They actually did give it back on Monday.
What they give it back?
They gave it back to the family. Yeah.
Right.
So it's in their possession, but no, that we've seen, none of the family's gone back into it. But yeah, it was released.
The car, you mean? It was released definitely.
Oh, no. I thought Julio meant about the house.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah. The house is definitely back in their care now. Where the
Apparently
car
Annie's
is.
car has been sent to a car repair shop.
Yeah, I heard that it's being kept somewhere. Like it's not. Well, I wouldn't. I don't think if I was innocent, I wouldn't want my car going back to the house. I just wouldn't, because until this is solved, or I'd get rid of the damn thing probably. She used her garage door from inside. And then did anyone hear they used Scrambler? That's why Wi-Fi and cameras went out. Yeah. And I know Brian Enton reported on that but you're right. The Scrambler could have scrambled everybody's at that time, so there's that. But what I'm talking about the doors is I don't think he got in the front. If he worked alone, even if he didn't work alone, I don't think he went in the front door. We know he came out that way.
Would he have
But
got it out on his own though?
I just superhuman
obviously
strength.
she wasn't dead then if he did get it out because she's
Oh,
walked out because that blood was down the path. I think she's walked out because
Well,
he
if
wouldn't
it-
have been able to carry someone that's not alive. Too
That's not
heavily for
true,
one
though.
person. They could drag her.
That they
Wrap it
could
up and drag her.
They could,
That's-
yes.
I'd say
But-
drag then lift.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Like get underneath her arms and just pull her out.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that would leave blood different. It would drip down the front of her. If she's bleeding from her face and he's dragging her and pulling
Yeah,
pulling
true.
her
Maybe
out,
he has it over
the
the
blood
shoulder
wouldn't
kind of
be.
first.
I think
Yeah.
it's over the shoulder. And
Well, this McDonough said it's come from 24 inches.
wow.
The way he's
So
seen the
that's-
blood, the blood pattern, and the others, were on his panel. They all agreed 24 inches. The way it was splattered, the way you got a main one and then little ones out after it. They said come from 24 inches.
That's not that far off the ground.
Well, I'm looking at my table now. It's 20 inches high. So, yeah, if that come from if it was over his shoulder at 24 inches, he had to put hold by her ankles.
Yeah. So back to the door. I think that he dissed the door finally, and then possibly went over to that area where I believe Nancy's bedroom to be, where you have to jump over the wall to get at her little courtyard area right there. And then because they clearly said the back door was open, even he said it again, even though the police walked back on that. They in the beginning said the back door was open. My question is, are they calling the back door as in the back of the house, or are they calling the back door her bedroom slider? Because remember when the FBI went back out there and they went out there with the attorneys and all of that, they were all hanging around in that courtyard area. Remember? And so I'm wondering if that's the door that was supposedly left open, but
that she may have left open for her.
Yeah, exactly.
And they were pointing to the floor as well. That was another thing that the guys pointed out. They were pointing at the floor. Something they were definitely pointing at.
That's right. Julio says, I understand that it's in their possession, but they are still FBI going in and out. Yeah, and I don't know if the FBI is actually the ones going in and out, or if it's like people like putting the cameras and stuff back in the house. I don't know. And then we also know that we know that they already sent in crime scene cleanup to it. So they are looking into the scrambler theory at the moment. JB heard 24 inches as well. Julio says, if she walked out the front door, there's nothing there to show. No footsteps, no drag lines. I think it was over his shoulder. I just do.
But JB is right. The blood could have been coming from her hands.
Could have. Absolutely. But would it have, if he's dragging her hands are dragging.
But then
so
his
there would
hands
be
ought to be being higher.
Not necessarily.
If
So if he's well, if he's dragging her and say he's got her underneath the arms, right under the armpits, then her arm would be up, but her fingers probably would still be dragging the ground, and the blood, even if it wasn't, it would be it wouldn't be a drip drip, drip, unless it was like from a finger. You know what I mean?
What about if she was walking out and she was being awkward? She was being
Sure, there
awkward
would
and
be
he just
drips.
slapped her right in the nose or something.
But I still think if she was upright walking, somebody would have stepped in it. That's the other thought about him having her over his shoulder, because if she's over his shoulder and she's bleeding, the blood is coming from behind him. They wouldn't step in it. It would be dropping behind him, not in front of them. Do you see what I'm saying? So that's why I believe that she's over his shoulder. Because if she's being pushed out by a wheelchair, the blood's going down onto her clothing. It's
I
going to.
still think there was two. I'm definitely thinking two. But I get, you know, I'm open to everyone who
Me
says
too.
things, because, you know, you've got to be, you can't be closed off and just say no, no, no. It's, you know, there's so many ways it can be done. But I just think there was two. There had to be two to make, because didn't he say one was round the back? One took, I mean, think of all the things this guy's done on his own. He's gone in there. He's got this woman, whatever he's done inside for being there for 39 minutes. He's took a camera off the back. You know, it's a lot to do in all that time for one man.
Yeah, but they said the same thing about Kohberger.
True. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he said it was more than one. You're right. That, I think that was definitely adrenaline.
Now, that's not me saying that there's not two, because I have always said that there was two, but I'm just trying to think of how it would have worked with just one.
Yeah.
And then how it could have worked with two. Obviously, having two people there, it would be a hell of a lot easier to do everything that they were doing. But the more people you involved, it's like that one guy said. He said, if there's more than one person involved, he said one of them will squill on the other and we'll know it. So
yeah, I mean, even what Julio said there about the bite lice, never even thought of that. You know, saliva, it's about to have wiped his mouth.
Had to have,
and then,
or even
and
dripping
then
that stuff.
yeah, you know, you'd be like feeling you've got to wipe your mouth. So has he used the balaclava to wipe his mouth?
I
Is
don't
that
know.
why it hasn't gone on his hands? Oh, I don't know. It's just a
But
mystery.
still, even if it's like right there, it would still drip out of his lip, and your natural reflex would be just to wipe it on your hand or your sleeve or something.
Yeah, it's an absolute mystery the more you think about it.
Yeah. JB says the guy in the video didn't have very broad shoulders. Listen, I'm not going to give you guys a whole lot of information, but there was one time I was thrown over the shoulders of somebody, and I remember my hands. Now this guy was a very tall guy, and I had my hands, because there was nothing. Once he got me over the shoulders, I know, but still, I'm telling you, humans. Look at Brian Kohberger. He killed 4 freaking
I
people.
do know that once you're frightened and your adrenaline takes over and you've got to get out quick, you can do, you know,
Women have picked up cars off their children before. I can bring all that up. It is amazing to me. Human
strength. I walk into the streets as fast as anything with fear.
Yeah.
You know,
and you don't even know it. Yeah. So without saying a whole lot, I've been thrown over the back of somebody's shoulder. I couldn't move. I could stand myself up because he had me at the hips on his shoulder, right? So my whole body's laying over his back. My legs are on the front of him. I would lift my body up. It was a whole thing. It wasn't anything abusive or anything like that. It was a funny thing, but I remember standing up and trying to grab the ceiling so he would put me down, and he didn't. He took me all the way to the damn car, you guys. And I remember holding on to the backs of his knees. Like that's how far my arms reached. But he was like 6'4", 6'3", somewhere in there. So I mean, my nose was right on his butt, y'all. And this guy was lengthy. He was just a lengthy, little, tall, skinny guy. But he picked me up and threw me over shoulders, and that was it. I was leaving, and I left.
Yeah.
JB, another reason I thought it's a woman. She was built that way. Julio says, yes, the FBI looked at the slider, but there was a back pull, like a swinging gate leading to
Yeah.
the outside. If they had to pull up the pull gate type latch, they had taken that bite light out too. I just know that bite light would have got on my nerves in a quickness and I would have spit it out. That's what would have happened. And he had to, I mean, there was no reason once he got in the house to use a bite light and unless
Maybe, yeah, that was the last time he used it when he was outside the door.
Yeah. So
And
what
I
I'm
think he
saying
was
is,
looking for the step. You knew the step
me
was
too.
there.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. But at some point he had to take the bite light out, right? And then reuse it again, probably because it's dark out there when he took Nancy out, right? And so saliva was definitely on his hands and he touched stuff in that house. And I just got a feeling a lot of it was missed.
Yeah.
Splatters. Yes, Mary Jane. Hope says, how did they determine it was a male? They just did. They came out and they said that it was.
Joel says it was a
male.
fella, yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
it's a male.
Yeah,
Son
Julia.
of worship. Hello, Sosa. Don't know what that means, but okay. Julio says, I think there might be 3, 2 lackeys and 1 mastermind. I've always said that too, that I believe, you guys know, tomato Tomasco, hot sauce dude being the mastermind.
Yeah.
The rabbit hole you can go down to identify at least three people, actually 4 that we already know the names of and how the connect exists. You're right. You're right. You are so right. Have you noticed that the media is being really, really careful, and even these big time people like Ashley Banfield and Nancy Grace and all them are being real careful not to name, drop names like that. But here we're going to drop the damn names. People, listen, all y'all are guilty. I'm the only one that I know that's not guilty is because I was sitting right here with y'all when that crime was going down, and it can be proven. All right, let's get back to the next theory. Ask about this video. No.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
My thanks to Jim Clementi. Tracy Walder is.
Oh, I just want to say the FBI in chat is JB. You'll see her as J. Brad. She is a 25-year retired FBI agent, and that man, Jeff Clementi, I think was his name, actually was one of her supervisors, or I think I saw her say in chat. So yeah, we're lucky. We're real lucky here. We got our own sources.
Retired CIA and retired FBI special agent. She knows bad guys as good as anybody else, and sometimes and oftentimes even better. Here's my conversation with Tracy. Hey, spring cleaning season is here. Yay. But most people forget the most important place to start is actually your pantry. We know and understand.
This is exactly how a bra for women over 50 should be. Made from 100% natural.
Standing, there's a lot we don't know. What is your theory about what happened to Nancy Guthrie?
It's funny. I've never shared it publicly on any of the news outlets before. So I want to be sensitive, obviously, to the Guthrie family in talking about this. But this is what I think happened. And I said from the beginning, one of the things that I thought was interesting is that her mom's home was readily accessible. The address, phone number, all of those things on a site called Been Verified. It has since been taken down. And so what I think is this is someone who was either obsessed with Savannah, either had an issue with something she had done, said, or someone that she had interviewed, and has some kind of a personal problem. I would imagine they've already gone through any stalking emails and things like that she may have received. And this person may have actually not reached out to her. But I think this is someone that was simmering for quite some time and upset with her. And as a result, knew it might be difficult to get directly to her or, thank goodness, her children or the rest of her family. And so picked, in my perception, probably the most vulnerable person or the easiest target in her family to essentially get back at her. And so I think this person planned this. I don't want to say for years because I don't think that that's the case, but I think this person planned this for a bit of time, and that's why her mother was selected as the target.
But do you think that someone would go to such extraordinary lengths, because this truly was extraordinary, just to exact some revenge to someone they hadn't even reached out to themselves at any point in advance of this?
Here's the thing, Ashley, I'll just share something personal. I think if I had not been a victim of several different pretty severe stalking incidences in the past, I would agree. But because I have been, and because I've seen what these individuals have done who have never reached out to me before, that's why I'm leaning more towards that, only just because of what I know I've experienced personally.
But then if this is the case, and again, this is all conjecture because we don't know what happened and we don't know some of the evidence that the police have obviously collected. But if this is the theory, would he have taken her alive? Or would he have taken her dead? Both of them just seem so extraordinarily difficult.
I think they both seem so outrageous, to be totally honest with you. But as I said, before, it is obviously working CIA, FBI, I've seen what horrible things people can do, to each other. But I think until you experience that, for yourself, right, and people stalking you and physically, all of those things, it's not readily apparent what people, are capable of. I don't believe that she was killed in the home. I do believe that she was probably taken alive. And I do believe that right now she's no longer, with us. I don't think, unfortunately, that's possible. But I do think that taking of her mother, who she's done segments with before, who she's talked about before, who I think by all purposes that we've seen has this really loving, kind of beautiful relationship, close relationship with, it seems that really was a target that this person saw and said, this is the way I'm gonna get to her.
Do you think that she was taken from the house alive based on the blood drops and the pattern that goes down the front walk towards the driveway?
I do. So I think maybe she was injured. I do think that for sure. The amount of blood that is there, and I had talked to Brian Inton about this because I was curious about, how big it was, and all of that, I do not believe is consistent with someone having lost their life. I also do think, and again, we can talk about the sheriff not maybe doing the best job and all of this. I do think that we would know that this was sort of a recovery situation, that they would have told us that if there was enough blood to be inconsistent with human life in the home.
It's certainly not a lot. And what I'm struck by is that there's no footsteps in it or signs of struggle in those blood drops, which, I've spoken to a few other people, but if someone is asking her to march out of her home at gunpoint and she's bleeding, presumably that person is behind her and would be stepping in it, but that doesn't seem to be the case.
So I don't think that she walked out of the home. That's, again, my personal, I have, obviously no evidence to corroborate that. I believe that she was probably carried simply because we've heard a lot about her limited mobility. I am certain she was scared. I am certain that, I think her mobility would have been hindered. What I think, and because the blood trail really just stops there, right? It doesn't go anyplace. It doesn't go further down the driveway, I guess is what I'm saying.
Well, that we know of, because honestly, who knows what CSI was actually done,
Yes, you are correct, that we know of, right? It just is right there in one solid location. I think that the person maybe realized that either she had blood, or something was happening and then stopped that or put something on top of it to stop that. But I think if you're carrying someone and their head's kind of this, you may not have stepped in that.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense as well. And do you believe that this person had every intention of going there to get Nancy? Or do you think it was an accident that started to spiral out of control and eventually he just did what he thought in the moment might be the best plan, and that is take her with him?
Okay, so I kind of have two different answers for that, if that's okay. I do believe Nancy was the target in this case. I don't believe it was a robbery gone wrong, those kinds of things.
Like a random robbery.
Correct. I don't believe that this was a random crime, if that makes sense. I do believe she was targeted. Now, I do believe in that backpack were things to subdue her. Now, I don't know if he was going to subdue her in the home, right, and had no intention of taking her from the home. But I do think that either he had intention of taking her from the home or kind of got spooked at the last minute and realized this isn't a good plan to keep her here. I'm going to get caught. I'm going to get found out and left with her. I think the former is probably the case. I think they intended on removing her from the home and torturing Savannah essentially and her family in every way that they could.
And then do you think something might have gone wrong because of Nancy's ill health and her need for medication and the fact that she's been gone for 5 weeks now almost? And that's why your thought is that she may no longer be with us?
I do. I mean, it sounds to me, again, I do not know her personally, that, she is very reliant on medication, and it's not just headache medication, right? This is heart life-saving medication. And so maybe this person planned to have that medication with him. I don't know, but I'm just going under the likely scenario that if they did not, and if her pacemaker is not working properly, then that is not usually conducive, right, to the heart continuing to work.
Do you think we're going to solve the crime?
I think so. I think in this day and age, yes. Do I think it's going to be solved in the next hour? I do not.
Tracy Walder, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ashley.
My great thanks to Tracy.
Right. Bill likes this one. I kind of got two different things from her.
You were robotic there, girl, if you said anything important at the beginning.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, fine.
I was saying there's a whole new thought right there. I kind of feel like there was kind of two things that she was saying that maybe, well, first of all, she felt like it didn't have anything to do with Savannah, that Miss Nancy was the total target in this, and that's just the way that it was. Or the first thing she started to say was that possibly this had to very much to do with Savannah and taking her from the home or murdering her. Miss Nancy is just a way of torturing Savannah even more. So what says you, Mags? I mean, it's a very, listen, it happens all the time. We could bring up many celebrities that a stalker has walked up and in the name of whatever, love or whatever, they have killed celebrities and they get so obsessed. The obsession is it's probably one of the scariest
They believe
emotions.
they have a relationship going with them, don't they?
Mhm.
That they're in
They
love.
really do. They do. And then they'll say, they'll think they really do get like this, like, oh, every time she wears red, she's thinking of me. So every time they see red, they're like, oh God, she's thinking of me, and it's just little things that they put in there. Obsession is probably one of the most dangerous emotions that we have.
Yeah.
Damage says, what is Tracy's qualifications? She is retired FBI agent and something else. I forget what it is.
I
Thank you so
actually
much for sending that, Hope.
I actually missed some of that, Lee. I got a phone call, so I've
okay.
only picked up a bit, love.
That's okay. That's okay. I feel Tracy's theories have a lot of validity. Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? It could be somebody who, I mean, Savannah, by all account, now I don't watch the Today Show, y'all. I haven't in years and years, because when we were in Germany, we only had one station, AFN, American Forces Network, and every morning, Monday through Friday, the freaking Today Show came on. We had nothing else to watch. And it was on for 2 freaking hours. When you have newborns and you have toddlers, that's a lot of time to watch news. So when I came back to the States, I was like, never, ever again will I be put through that trauma. So, but, apparently she had her mom on her show a lot, and you just don't think, she's proud of her mom. She loves her mom. She wants to show off her mom. I'm sure little did she ever think that having her mom exposed like that to the world was actually dangerous, very, very dangerous. And not only that, how quickly did we pull up exactly where she lived? It didn't even take 5 minutes. Once I got the addresses, it didn't take 5 minutes to bring up all the houses involved in this. And it's just been since all this has happened. Now we know the address, right? But it's too late now. They've already taken her name off of certain things and stuff, so she's not as easily to track, but it's too late. So it's a really good idea. And I hope a lot of people learn from this. You don't have to be a famous person for somebody to become obsessed with you and use your family or someone you love against you. Don't put their names, no matter how much you love them and how proud you are, and you just want the world to know what great people they are. Keep them keep your kids, keep your family out of your business, because you never know who's watching.
It's like on air, isn't it? You say you're not going to tell anyone anything about you, and you don't realize how you are doing it. You just don't realize what you're saying, because you just don't think. I mean, I've never when I was on Facebook, I've never put my child on Facebook. I was too scared. I've never put him on social media, nothing. So that's a definite. But as myself, I put all kinds out about myself because I've got a lot to worry about. But then it's when you get people, like you say, it can be a scary thing.
Yeah, you never know.
Never
You
know.
never know. Never know. Dammer says, do you think it's a reaction to her affiliation of Fox News, possibly the Trump administration? It very well could be. And then what, her husband, wasn't he was, I forget what my husband told me about it, but he looked up her husband and he was affiliated with the Joe Biden campaign or
Something to do with that,
some
yeah.
way.
Something
So
like that, yeah.
is it political? Does it have anything to do with the Epstein files? It could be anything. It could be anything. And I try to, and we, you know, Maggie, you and I have been bullied really by some creators on here because we don't show our face. You know what I mean? In protection of ourselves. And why would we? They're bullies. They just want to rip us apart.
If people want to go and put the face on, that's up to them. Everyone's
up to
got a
them,
choice,
right.
and it doesn't matter what
But
people choose to do.
Right, but somehow people will make you invalid, try to make you invalid in a sort of way because you don't have your face up there. That's not to say that I have not. Maggie's been really good. There have been times accidentally I showed my face. There's been times that I purposely show my face, but I've tried not to on this. I've accidentally done it on mine, but I have gone to other panels and shown my face on there. And truthfully, who knows? By the time I only agreed to my kids that I would let my youngest son get out of college before I ever considered, you know, camming up. And I don't know. I don't know that I ever will, but it's so dangerous. That reverse click thing, reverse picture thing, and all of that. See, I don't understand. How come we have an 84-year-old woman still missing, and yet you can find my location just by reverse clicking one of my pictures? Please tell me how that's possible. I don't understand.
The things that they've got today that they can do to chase people and track, and yet they can't do that. It baffles me. The whole thing baffles me.
Dammer says, do you think it's the okay, so we got that. Pardon me. Hope says, in all reality, if she was taken to the desert, I don't think there would be any remains left. And there's going to be a guy on here that's going to talk about that. And I said that from word go. I do believe that she was taken to the desert.
Sorry, if you can hear the dog snoring, can you, Lee?
No, I can't hear him. I can't hear her. Unfortunately, I feel it is connected to Savannah going back home. Julio, I looked and looked and looked because I don't, like I said, I don't watch the Today Show, but you guys are the ones that told me that she had done that kind of a series or whatever, Savannah going back home after so many years or whatever. I can't find it. If somebody can find for me.
Is that where she goes and she shows a home? Is that that one? I watched it. I'll find it. See if I can find it. I'll go through now as you're talking.
Okay, because I looked and looked and looked. I cannot find it. I want to see and hear Nancy talking. I want to hear and see, you know what I mean? And then I want to see what all Savannah showed on that, because at first I didn't buy that, Julio. I didn't buy that this had to do with Savannah. But now I'm just like, oh my God, it's just quite possible. I mean, but so is anything. Anything is possible. Sad we have to do that, Lainey, because it's true. Yeah. I mean, there was nothing more that I would have loved than to be able to show, since I've been on YouTube, you know, I've been gifted 2 more grandkids, but there's no fucking way. There's no fucking way. And I don't suggest anybody doing that. We don't
Even
do
if I wanted to, maybe I didn't have the, you know, I thought at first too, I couldn't go on camera, but then further along the lines, I could have changed my mind, but I never would now. The way it is, I think it's terrible. On the people on here alone, you know, terrible.
Yeah. Yep. That's right. Damage says we don't do Facebook or post pics of family. Heck, you can barely find me anywhere. I think that's fabulous.
Stay
and I
like
think
that,
that's the way we've got to do it.
Stay like that.
Julio says, connections with Savannah going back home. Eyes on this. There's an underground and unscrupulous people in Tucson, and plan was hatched. Have a look at the people working at MG Enterprises and you'll be shocked or surprised. Hold on, give me a second. When you guys tell me stuff like that, I have to write it down or I just won't remember it. What did he say? MG Enterprises. Okay, I will look into that too. Hubby worked for the Clintons too. Yeah. That's what it was. It may not have been Joe Biden. Maybe it was Clinton that Beefcake was telling me about. I knew it was that side of the house though. Tin hat foil theory is that definitely Epstein's world's involvement to 100%. Occam's razor is kidnapping gone wrong. Look, this is what I think. This is where I have the problem with. I don't know. I mean, I guess I just don't put anything past what's going on in the Epstein thing anymore. But here's what I think. It's the Epstein whole thing is the best kept secret in the world. And it wasn't like Savannah was out to expose anybody, I don't think. And the government has covered up so many people in that I don't think we're ever going to get the truth or real names or anything like that. They covered up who they wanted to cover up and let out stupid names that don't mean anything to us. But all the ones with the right amount of money, they've been covered up. So that's why I have problems with it being an Epstein thing, because nobody cares. And second of all, I mean, it's not like Nancy Guthrie is who we would all be going. I mean, she's not running for office. She hasn't been in office. She's not doing this, do that. You know what I mean? And same with Savannah. Yes, she's known worldwide for her, what she does for a living, but is she going to make any waves in the Epstein thing? I think not. I mean, her husband worked for Bill Clinton, for God's sake, who is right now testifying about all of that. So I don't think that was a part of it, but and then I have trouble with the whole cartel theory, because I'm sorry, the cartel is a lot smarter than this. A lot smarter than this. There's no way cartel would have walked up on that porch and not have already figured out how to silence that camera before anybody showed up on the porch. That's just my theory. I don't watch either. Not in the country. I think it's literally called Savannah Goes Home. Okay, hopefully somebody can find it. If you guys find it, please let me know, because I need to know where to go. I want to watch it. I think
I'm looking. I've seen it.
It would be so interesting. I just want to see the background stuff. I want to see what she's showing. I want to hear her mom talk. I want to hear her talk to her mom, and just, I don't know. Hi, Purple. Good to see you. Thank you for coming in. Yes, Jay Brad, tinfoil hat theory, backpack for Savannah trying to expose Epstein, and warning to Savannah's husband to shut his mouth, read the Clintons. Now you're talking. See, I didn't even think of all that. I didn't think of all that. Now, when you're talking like that, that becomes real to me. So now I can put that in. It's plausible. You know what I mean? So thank you. Hi, Tosh. Good to see you, love bug. Hope you're feeling better. Hope everything's good.
Hi, people.
All right, let's listen to the next one while Mag's trying to find that for me. If anybody else can find it, let me know, because I'm real curious to watch it.
This next guest, you've seen him with me before. Matt Murphy comes to this story from a different angle. He's
I like this guy. I like this guy a lot.
Orange County, California.
Hi, Drew. Good to see you, love bug.
He also, I guess you could say, wrote the book on murder. His book is called The Book of Murder. It is a great read, so I highly recommend you take a look. But Matt comes at this from a different perspective, and our conversation is fascinating. So Matt, given that I
have to tell you guys, out of everybody that she has talked to, this is the guy that I agree with the most. He just makes the most sense. I resonate with how he says everything.
Can I just say there might be a little bit of breaking news? I'm just on here because I'm clicking through.
Go
He's
ahead.
talking to Brian Enton saying 2 people have been arrested and the phones have been seized.
All right, hold on. Let me see what I can bring up.
He's live now talking to someone on
Brian
the channel.
Enton. All right, you guys, we're going to pause
It's not
right
his
there.
channel. It's not his channel. He's on
All
with
right.
someone.
Let me see.
I'm just reading the text now. You know, where
What
it comes up.
is he on with someone live
If
right
you've
now?
got, and they search the devices, then they're likely to get the forensics. This is what I'm reading. I can give you the name. Do you want me to put it in the back chat?
No, go
Put
ahead
the
and
name of the channel.
I don't mind people's channels on here.
Okay, it just says it's all lowercase DJB5 DJB510. That's it. Now they're saying something about Brian Kubrick, 30 ages. Information is naturally purged. I'll read a week before it's stored in so many different places.
Oh, see, he's
but he's on. Brian Enton's live with
him. I don't know. What
it's
worries
him,
me about
or is
that
he-
is
Oh,
what
it
worries
could be
me.
someone there and they're playing the live now. The play, or it's not even alive. They're live.
Let's go to JLR. Yeah, I think this guy's live and he can.
Yeah,
he can
he's
strike me.
playing them. Yeah, okay.
All right, let's try JLR.
Go on.
And see
I'll
what
keep
he's.
looking for this one for you.
See if he's got anything on it. We'll get right back to that, guys. I want to.
Susanna's watching as well. They're all on, so maybe they're all talking about it.
Okay.
Oh no.
He's all JLR is doing right now is he's talking to somebody on the phone, but there is a police down the road. You can see.
Yeah. Is that the black car?
The flashing lights at the end.
Yeah. Oh no, different one. Then there was a black car there. What I seen today, and they said it's been there for ages. They thought it was a cop.
Oh, you're a bit sore. I'm so sorry, Tashi. Hopefully it's going to be over soon. Why don't we do this? Let's continue to play this. Maggie, if you could keep an eye.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye to it.
Thing, because if something happened, he's going to report it.
Yeah, I've turned it off now, but
Brian Enton is talking about some. Maybe they're pulling something else up, or
yeah, I'll look at the screen. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and get back into this.
And we definitely don't know other things, given that the police will not have released some of those things. What is your best assessment of what happened to Nancy Guthrie? What are your thoughts about what happened in that home?
Well, I think, and I've talked to you about this before, I think she was dead inside the house. I've always believed that. I hope I'm wrong. This is absolutely horrible for the family, of course. But when you see blood like that on the outside, and you're talking about somebody she was not very old, but she was old and she was frail and she had a heart condition. And when you're bleeding that badly on the outside of the house, that's the one thing we haven't seen, Ashley, is we haven't seen photos of the inside. I'm not suggesting that we should have seen those, but there was violence visited upon that poor woman inside her house. When you look at that video, that guy was there with a plan. And when you see that backpack, like we talked about before, I think there was a tarp in that backpack. And that is one of the things that you'll see when you deal with enough violent crimes as a police officer or as a prosecutor or as a judge is they come in with kits. Now, that's commonly a rape kit. A lot of people think that you age out of being a sexual assault victim. Sadly, I'm here to tell you, you do not. There is no age limit. I've always, wondered if this could be a potential sex case, if this could be a serial killer. And the bottom line is we just don't know. But I will make a prediction right now, Ashley. I think that this case will eventually be solved. I don't think at this point, honestly, we're ever going to find her body. Maybe we will, but I kind of doubt it. As a general rule, when you prosecute cases in Southern California like this, if somebody gets a body out into the desert, it's very common that we will not find them. I've prosecuted many no body cases. I've done 5 of them. And I've got a couple that they got the bodies out to the desert. We had cell phone pings. We know almost exactly the area, and we still couldn't find them. Cadaver dogs, all the rest of it. And so I wouldn't be surprised if her body has never recovered. But Eventually, the case itself will be solved. I have no confidence, frankly, in Laura Conover, the DA, that they will prosecute a no-body case. I hope, again, I'm wrong, but I virtually guarantee that when the identity of this person is discovered, that this is not his first rodeo. I bet he has been involved in the criminal process in Pima County. And I bet you anything that when we look back on this a year, 5 years from now, when the case is finally put together, and I think at this point it could be that long, that this will be a frequent flyer that they knew about, that got out earlier than he should have. I will bet you anything he's one of those.
Well,
and this is,
so
yeah.
if you go back to what you were saying about geriatric rape, which is, you know, so foreign to so many of us, and plus we don't want to go there, but I heard a statistic that was just unbelievable. 70% of geriatric rape perpetrators are in their 20s. And that victims are usually left behind, either dead or alive. So this is a very unusual outlier if that's the case.
It's very unusual. And there's no question about that. This is, you exponentially increase the odds of getting caught by moving a body. That's just a fact. And this is a body. I think she was wrapped up in that tarp when he took her out. I think that she bled out on the steps. You and I have talked about similar cases. I did at my Judy Black case, where a woman murdered her boyfriend, and she was about 100 pounds soaking wet, this woman, and her boyfriend was a Vietnam vet who weighed about 220 pounds, a guy named Pete Theriot, very nice man, by the way. She murdered him in a house, and she managed to get his body out. And the blood droplets, even the tiles looked the same to me. And she got his body out into the same desert, took him out to a place called Blythe, which is right on the Arizona-California border. And we never found his body, but we prosecuted her anyway.
How? First of all, just go back to that. How did she do that?
Well, there's a will, there's a way. And she got his body inside the car. She pulled the car into the garage, but on the tiles outside the bedroom, getting the body out of the bedroom, we believe she shot him. Bodies don't bleed when somebody's dead because you require the heart beating, but they sure will leak blood, as graphic as that sounds. And that's, I mean, look, and again, I look through this through the most jaded lens imaginable after 4 years in sexual assault and 17 in homicide. So I pray that I'm wrong on all of this, but yeah, moving the body exponentially increases the risk. So it is incredibly unusual. However, she's not there, and they moved the body. All of those ransom notes are fake, by the way. I called that out at the very beginning. None of those are real. They're so transparently not real. All the TMZ stuff, those are scammers. And when you appeal to the public, you have three groups of people that are going to come out of the woodwork. You've got well-meaning folks that want to help, and you got to sift through all those. You got to devote resources to those. And this sheriff went to the public very soon. I have no criticism of that. But you're going to get well-meaning people in the community. And, I heard somebody screaming, but it might've been my neighbor's wife. I heard some noises, but it might've been the raccoons again. You got to sift through all those. Then you get your crazy people that come out and say it was the werewolves that did it or the vampires. And those are guaranteed. And sadly, in the modern era, we also get people that are going to try to profit off the apoplectic grief of poor families like the Guthrie family, And again, I don't know what this turns into. And one of the things I learned in the homicide unit is you have to maintain an open mind. This could be any number of things at this point. I don't want to call it because I just don't have enough facts. But I will tell you this. I am very disappointed with the way the sheriff has conducted it. I haven't been shy about that. I want to be fair to him. It's a tough position to be in. I've been on that stage where elected officials have been at that podium fielding questions. I think that he's handled all that very poorly, in just my opinion here. But this absent DA coming from a vertical system where the prosecutors there that night assisting the police in their investigation from the set of eyes of what can be admissible and not admissible. And it's really important to remember here, this isn't just about figuring out who this person is and who did it. It's about holding them accountable and making sure that the investigation has enough integrity that whatever they discover evidence-wise is admissible, because that's how you achieve justice in our system. It's not just about an arrest, which seems to be the viewpoint of some of the law enforcement leadership. This is about, it's the whole picture. It's about figuring out who did it and then holding them accountable so they can't do this to anybody else. And it seems that second, absolutely critical, I would argue, maybe even more important part of this has been absent. Now, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but it just seems like the right hand doesn't know what the left hand is doing. And I don't have any faith in Laura Conover. Sorry.
Well, absent the prosecution side, leaving the prosecution side.
But they should be involved in the investigation, making sure that mistakes aren't made that will lead to the suppression of evidence. Every time you throw handcuffs on somebody, Ashley, like we heard about this Uber Eats guy or the people that they've detained with SWAT teams, that strikes me, again, just my opinion, as performative actions by the sheriff. That's exactly how you screw up a prosecution. If they kick in a door out of the enthusiasm of one detective or somebody and they didn't get a warrant and you have a cornucopia of evidence, you will not be able to prosecute that case. So again, I hope I'm wrong. I always hated when talking heads would criticize the cases I was working on, but from what I've seen, I have very little confidence in this sheriff or the DA to properly put this case together.
But then jumping to the FBI, do you believe that we will eventually solve this case?
I really do think we will. I think that the FBI is a different story. When it comes to abductions, they're the best in the world at finding that. Sorry for the sirens. You can tell what city I'm in by the.
There's a reason Home Depot never mentions this option in their store, but they can't stop me from revealing it to the public.
By the sound in the background.
Sounds and looks like New York in the background.
Yeah. Look, I think that eventually this case will be solved. And I think that part of that is, I think the media pressure will remain. It'll lessen over time. But I think the public interest is intense. This poor woman is somebody that we can all relate to. She looked just like my grandma. I think she looked like everybody's grandma. Savannah Guthrie, my heart breaks for her. You can just see the grief on her face. It's the worst thing a family can go through. And again, I can't tell you how much I hope I'm wrong on all of this for that family, but I would feel a lot better about it just as a citizen if they were better served by the law enforcement we've seen. The FBI, remember, unless there's some angle that I'm unaware of or some piece of evidence that hasn't come to light, this is a state case, actually. This is not a federal case. So the FBI is there in a supportive role, which means they kind of have to defer to the decision-making of the law enforcement leadership of Pima County, and that's the DA and the elected sheriff. And so far, in my view, it's been a clown show. So
I know what you were about to say. I can feel it. And I think you're not alone. I think everybody watching. Yeah, everybody watching has sort of had that feeling as well.
I'm frustrated.
Yeah. And the confounding mystery of what happened in that house, I think, is what has so many of us just wanting to know, but also wanting the resolution. Matt, thank you for this.
Y'all, to me, he sounds like the male version of everything that I have been saying. Everything that I have been saying. I identify with him, and he and I think exactly the same way. There was a couple of points that he made that I wanted to touch on. But I don't believe that the sheriff is doing any kind of cover up other than his own ass. I think he knows he fucked it up, and instead of just bowing out and saying, I made a lot of mistakes here in my, in leadership of this case, and we need to step out and let the FBI take this over. And all egos aside, I think he wants to be the one to solve this crime. Maybe go out, the last time he was in office, we know that there was some trouble with the FBI. They had done a investigation into him. So he didn't exactly end his term on a great closing, for his retirement. He came back and they weirdly elected him in again. And I think this would be the highlight of his career, and to go out saying, I solved the Nancy Guthrie case and then retire from that. Maybe it's redeemable. I don't know. I don't know. But so I agree with him with that, and I have always said from day one, where's the prosecution? Why wasn't the prosecution up on stage? I mean, we know just from the Brian Koberger case, the very first interviews that the police officers and the sheriffs and everybody was doing, the prosecutor was up there because the guy's right. We can hopefully find this dude and get him arrested, but it's a whole different thing to get a conviction. It's a whole different thing, and they've already screwed it up so much by releasing the crime scene so early, and then all the other shit that went down with this case, that getting a conviction at this point, I mean, whoever it is, they've got a great chance to say bullshit. You got the wrong guy. So I do agree with that. I think they brought the prosecutor in too early. I am going to do a background check on that prosecutor and see. I'd like to know how many. I mean, we learned also from the Brian Koberger case that just because they're in office doesn't mean that they're doing their jobs, because that prosecution team sure let all of us down. That's for sure. So I would like to know more about their career and how many people they brought, because I mean, I feel like they stepped in the third hour. Don't you guys? Do you feel that way, Maggie? I mean, we didn't even know the prosecutor's name until the last time the FBI went out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's the first time we've ever seen her. So that's the third hour. I mean, he's right. The prosecution has to say, don't do that, because you're going to screw up. You're going to screw up getting a conviction. I mean, it's legit. It's legit. Did you happen to find that, Maggie?
No, I haven't, Lee. And you know what? I remember when I did find it, when I heard about it, it was really hard for me to find, but I will keep looking. I'll make it my mission to find it for you.
Well,
Anyway,
remember-
so what happened with Brian ended whatever he's talking to, Jared or something? I don't know. You'd say Jared.
Okay.
Gerard, is that? That's who he was talking to. Thanked him, and then he just said, "I'll keep you posted, let you know. Hopefully, something will happen tonight."
Was that live?
Well, I don't know, because I was watching this channel and he was showing those, but I went on Brian Enton's afterwards and I
Mhm.
can't see him saying anything. Well, I haven't listened because I'm listening to you. His last short was about the internet going down, the Wi-Fi and that.
Yeah,
He's talking
that's
about
what
that.
I
So,
saw before we went live too.
yes,
Okay, we'll
so
just keep an eye on it then, and
I'm
just
gonna go
see.
right. I'm looking right as I'm talking to see if there's anyone else.
Thank you for that. All right, we're gonna go into the next one unless somebody's got something to say. Are you guys still here? Are you guys just listening? Are you watching other things like Maggie's doing?
Oh God! Oh no, I'm not, Lee. I'm trying for you.
I'm only messing with you,
I
baby.
know.
I'm only messing with you.
You're too interesting. You've got loads to say, and I love
Oh,
listening
yeah.
to it all. I'm
Yeah,
going mad when the
girl.
phone rang. I was like,
Of course, anytime.
All right.
My great thanks to Matt Murphy.
I can't say it enough. I like that dude. I really do like him. He looks like he could be a real ass though, doesn't he?
what's his name, Lee?
His name was Matt.
Okay, Marino.
Hold on.
Come to light. This is.
Let me get back to his name.
Line by line, here's my conversation with Maureen.
No. Next is going to be Maureen O'Connell. I like her. JB has a lot of very nice
Me
things
a couple
to
of
say
times
about her.
before. She's
No, come on.
Have you seen the
yeah, and
blonde,
it's
the
the
QC
confounding
one?
mystery of what happened in that house.
Maureen.
Yeah, that's who's coming on next. That's JB
She's
speaks
good.
very, very highly of her.
Yeah, she's very good.
Because what has so many of us just wanting to know, but also wanting the resolution. Matt, thank you for this.
Of course, anytime, Ashley.
Matt.
My great thanks to Matt Murphy.
Matt
Okay,
Murphy.
Maureen O'Connell, you have seen her with me a couple of times before. She's very analytical. She's a retired FBI special agent, and she has followed this crime line by line. Here's my conversation with Maureen. Maureen, given what we know and what we don't know, what do you think happened in the Nancy Guthrie crime?
Well, I think initially, whatever was supposed to happen may have gone south. And I think Nancy, unfortunately, was injured when they were either trying to get her out or perhaps trying to get her attention when they first got in the residence. And then they got her out the front door. She bled on the front stoop, got into a car, and we have no idea what happened after that.
Do you think she was alive or dead when they took her?
I think she was alive when they took her, but I have no idea what the status is now. And I'm obviously, like everyone else, losing faith as time goes by. And, it's just.
Meet Niles Knurk. He's the owner of Gurney's. They're
La
a seed company.
la la
and
la
they've been
la
selling
la
exclusive
la
varieties
la
since
la
1860.
la la
It's
la la.
devastating.
When you see the perpetrator on the camera, and as sources have said to every journalistic outlet, those images on the camera are from different days, which would suggest this person cased Nancy's home on a different date and then arrived on the 1st of February. When you see that perpetrator on camera with that backpack, knowing he cased the place, what do you think he was there for?
Well, I know he cased the place prior, but I'm not so sure that that image wasn't taken the same night of the abduction. And the reason I say that is because it would make sense to me that he would have put Nancy in the car and then he walked back up to the front porch because it was an arduous experience trying to get her out of there and into the car and everything. And I think he went back to the front door to look to see if he left any evidence or if he left anything. But it could have been from another night. But to me, it makes, because who's going to put on the exact same outfit?
I mean, to me, it's shocking as well. Although, if you want to have an outfit that you're going to dispose of, maybe you've got the same one. And given that the very first time of disconnection is 1:47 a.m., well, it's only a little less than 2 hours earlier to hit a different date, to be the date before. And we have never been told what that other date is.
That's a fair point too. Yeah.
Yeah. But what do you think the mission, motive, intention was for this guy, given the backpack, given the stealth, given the awkwardness of how he approached that camera.
The whole thing never really seemed to me to be about a kidnapping. It just doesn't make sense to take an 84-year-old woman with mobility issues who's bleeding and put her into a vehicle. I just can't see the upside of that. From the smartest criminal to the dumbest criminal, I cannot see anyone making that decision and thinking it's a good one.
So what do you think the intention was then if it wasn't kidnapping?
I think it was a hit.
You think the intention was to come in and murder?
Well, it certainly wasn't a burglary because they didn't take anything, and they had plenty of time in there to take something, unless, of course, the goal of the perpetrator was to terrorize Savannah and take something of her that's intimate to her from her childhood or something, which they didn't even notice was missing. I mean, that's another scenario. But we don't have enough information to say what we think exactly happened or didn't happen. We probably have 15% or less of what the law enforcement agencies have on hand right now.
That's a really good point, because it can mean all the difference. When my source said that there's blood droplets inside the house that are the exact match of the blood droplets outside the house, the ones that we've seen on the front stoop and then apparently that carry on down the pathway to the driveway, it just made me wonder, well, if there's no sign of a struggle in the blood and there's no footprints in the blood, I'm trying to put my head into the detectives as to what would have happened and why these droplets are so undisturbed.
Right. They had to, I mean, if they, I said from the beginning, I thought the offender had a tarp or something rolled up in his backpack. And if they rolled her up in that like a burrito, but then when you get to the door and you're trying to hold her and open the inside door and then open the exterior door and then step to the front porch, you may have, tilted her a little bit, or she coughed, because some of those blood droplets are consistent with coughing or aspiration of some sort. And then, the car then you get her out there and then the car pulls up and you put her in the back. It could have been something like that. And, she's hard of hearing. So when they went in, they probably couldn't get her attention. Maybe she was sound asleep and maybe they were shouting and maybe someone, struck her initially to wake her up, or she wasn't responding to their commands because she couldn't hear them. And maybe someone struck her at that point, and that could have caused or initiated the bleeding in the interior of the house, which my understanding is was similar to what's on the front porch.
Yeah, if
So it could have been a coughing in there, and then another cough on the porch.
Yeah, or just the droplets, as they were. Do you think that Nancy was taken out of the house alive?
Yes, I do.
And what makes you feel that way?
Because of the blood, because there's an old saying that says dead bodies don't bleed, and it looked to me like that was from a cough or something, because it looks slightly aspirated. Some of the blood droplets look almost like they were bubbles initially that popped, and I don't know. That's just my feeling.
Do you think we're going to solve this case?
Yes.
Confident?
Yes.
Why?
Very confident. I just am very confident. This would be a hard case for a lot of people to solve, but with the resources that are being made available to this investigation right now, and the state of the world, so to speak, with regard to forensic capabilities and electronic capabilities, I think we're going to be good.
I hope you're right. Maureen, thank you for this.
You're welcome.
My great thanks to Maureen O'Connell. Next.
Pretty amazing stuff. Pretty amazing stuff. I think it was a hit too. I don't think it had anything to do with a ransom. I don't think it had anything at all to do with stealing anything. The whole thing of wrapping her body up makes a lot of sense to me, and that's
I
the only
did to
way.
saying that, before. Yeah.
Julio says, I really like these guests being asked one after the other, right? And they all have different jobs in the criminal
series. Brilliant.
Yeah, and it's most of it, we've all heard right here in chat. Hi, Benny. Good to see you, honey.
Hi, Benny.
It's something that we haven't heard before, but to actually hear it from these mouths who do this every day, every day, is that to me is amazing, and makes me just think that, you know what, just regular people like us. We have a brain too that we can use. And as long as you try to use your brain and keep your heart out of it and try to figure out what makes sense and what just does not make sense, like the alien coming down and kidnapping them. So you can take that one out of there. So that, and I'm just using that as an example, no digs or anything at anybody. I'm just saying that I think people don't use their brain enough. And I think if you use common sense, you can get down to a couple of theories. But like she said, we know maybe 15%. Julio says, if it's a hit, definitely tin hat foil theory. Read the Jeffrey Epstein thing. Could be, yes. I mean, it's the only thing that makes sense, right? If it's a hit, it would have to be something, or we don't. I mean, Maggie and Lizzo really went into what Nancy Guthrie did for a living. And they talked about how she was involved in insurance and looking up insurance crimes and things like that, crimes against the insurance or whatever it was. I couldn't follow the whole thing. That's way beyond. So did somebody from Medicaid or Medicare or something she was going to expose, a doctor's office, anything like that? Could that have been the hit, Julio? I mean, what do you think about that? I just really struggle with a big crime operation like the Jeffrey Epstein or a cartel hit because of how this looks. That's what I struggle with. I always go into it with an open mind, but I'm still stuck on the family.
Well, I was convinced it was because she was, well, what I'd read and what I'd seen, that she was exposing something to do with a pharmaceutical thing, and that's I was thinking, is it, do you want to shut it up?
Yeah. Unfortunately, we have proven over and over again that a lot of stuff has been scrubbed because we've tried to bring back stuff. Because listen, Maggie nor I are computer people. We don't have a file that we could just bring up old stuff like these really good creators do, we don't know how to do all that stuff. So I have, my file is my little notepad that I've got here on just about every topic I do. And I have that. And then we keep things in our brains. And then sometimes we remind each other of things. Julio says, pardon me, I feel there was a mix up with another Nancy Guthrie doing the investigation. Really?
Similar to that case that I showed you in Australia.
Yeah. Well, Diamond Lucidity comes in here just to throw me a theory every now and then. And she's been saying that all along, that we need to really pay attention to the gym show that was there. And was it a case of my mistaken identity? Because the guy who rented out
next door, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, he was next door.
Seen him taking all his stuff out of the house and putting it in boxes.
Right. But again, I'm going to say, why have a backpack full if you're going to go rob somebody? You're going to need that back. Tools are not light. They're heavy. So that's where I'm just like, nope, that don't make a lick of sense to me either. Yeah. The great one, Julio says, I looked it up. There's another Nancy Guthrie. Is it in the same city? I'd be curious to know. All right, we're going to go ahead and play this other one. I think this is her last one, I think. Let's listen to another one.
You might not have heard from, at least this was my first time speaking with Douglas McGregor, but I saw Douglas McGregor on X because his analysis was very specific about this crime. And it turns out when I followed him and looked into him, well, he does have quite a background. He is from the Iris Investigative Strategies Company. He is a geographic profiler and a forensic intelligence analyst. Here's my conversation with Douglas. Douglas, given what we know and what we don't know, with your professional expertise and background, what do you think happened?
When it comes to, for this case, it's obviously a very complex case. It's a very rare case, an elder abduction. However, when I look at when I try to think in my head and process a theory, first I'm looking for when I try to develop a theory, I'm looking for the trifecta. You have to have either motive, you have to have a suspect, or a target. One of those three things, or a combination thereof. And in this case, at least what we know publicly, we really don't have any of those three. We don't know motive, we don't know suspect, and we don't know what the primary target is. And I can get into each one of those. Now, I can give some hypotheses regarding a theory, but it was likely, in my opinion, a planned abduction. I can say that. Just due to the time the offender entered their home at 2 a.m. 2 a.m. it's not the time you enter a home for typical time for a burglary. So they entered at 2 a.m. They allegedly removed Nancy from the property. Again, publicly, we don't have proof that she was removed from the property, but that seems like the most likely scenario, that she was removed by the man with the mask in the video.
Wait, we have proof that she's removed from the property. She's gone, right?
She's gone, but was she removed by the person in the video? I just can't say 100% that I know that as a member of the public.
What would be the alternative theory about why she's not there?
The only alternative theory would be two independent events. This individual entered the property, got in contact with Nancy, either intentionally or unintentionally, left, and then Nancy left, injured, looking for assistance. Unlikely, but publicly, I don't know that didn't happen, right? I'm leaning more towards she was taken by this individual in the house.
Let me jump in there only because the sheriff has confirmed to us that she was taken. They've said 100% she didn't wander. This wasn't a case of elderly dementia or anything else, and that the signs in the house, which he couldn't give us, indicated 100% that Nancy was taken against her will. So that's what we know publicly.
And if he's said that, then I tend to side with law enforcement unless I know otherwise.
Well, let's go on. Let's go on that
Absolutely.
theory. Is that publicly we know this much? So if we've taken your first point, go to your second point based on the public knowledge that the sheriff has actually revealed.
Sure. So as I mentioned, it was a 2 a.m. entry, not typical for a burglary. Right? Somebody that enters at 2 a.m. in the morning, they either don't care that somebody's at home, right? Which is very high risk on their part. They know the person's at home and they're targeted. They know the person's vulnerable, or they thought the person was going to be elsewhere. It's kind of one of those scenarios. But they all, every single one of those, except for not caring if the person is home, indicate that this offender knew Nancy and or her property, was familiar with Nancy and or her property, and was comfortable in the area.
So not random, not somebody who was just skipping around looking for a home in that neighborhood that night.
To me, it does not suggest an opportunistic event.
And there's also the reporting that the images on the Nest Cam came from different nights or dates, at least, that suggests that that this person was casing Nancy's home in advance.
Correct. And again, I don't know if that's been proven without a doubt with the timestamps. I'm not sure. If this individual visited on multiple nights and was caught on camera multiple nights, to me, that puts in question the level of sophistication, because it wasn't planned out and it wasn't carried out at one time. So there's that. It also really increases the level of risk and the amount of risk the offender is willing to take, because they are going back to the same location. They're putting themselves back on camera. And I mean, they don't know who had that original footage from the first time they were there.
But I always thought that sophistication is, underscored by people who do their homework and case the place in advance. But you're saying the opposite.
I'm not saying the opposite necessarily. Absolutely, sophistication. They've cased the area. They know her. They know her routines. They know the vulnerabilities of the property, how to get in, how to get out. They know victimology of the person that's there. But would they, if they knew the camera was there, would they put themselves on camera, leave, and come back again? So just the fact that he put himself on camera, he saw the camera, he left, and he still decided to come back, it suggests that, well, it's just one of two things. Either a lack of sophistication, or it greatly increases the value of that target, right? It means that target was so important, whether it was Nancy or whether it was her property or something in her property, the target was so important that the offender couldn't substitute it for another property or another person.
But you do think this will be solved?
I think so.
Douglas, thank you. Thank you for this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Ash.
I only got one thing to say about that, y'all. Did you see the way that Ashley was looking at him? She's like, dude, I'm not buying it. I'm not. You're an idiot. And that's the thought I was thinking the whole time was, dude, what are you saying? Like, what are you really saying? So that one I probably would have left off of this, I think, or interviewed him a little bit earlier, because he obviously is not really paying attention to the crime and to what's being reported on it. So that's just my take. There's no need to talk about this dude more than that. So let's just move right along with this.
My great thanks to Douglas McGregor. And I'm going to wrap up with somebody who has a lot of experience solving some of the hardest crimes to solve. In fact, you might say he solved the hardest crime, the Golden State Killer. He is known for his work as a detective on that case. It was cold for decades and decades, but they found the guy and they prosecuted the guy and they put him away. Paul is a former cold case investigator for the Contra Costa County Sheriff's Office. And here's my conversation with Paul. So Paul, based on what we know, understanding what we don't know, what do you think happened?
Well, you know, obviously it's a complex crime, Ashley, and I think there's a lot more going on that the offender is doing that people aren't necessarily taking into account, or at least considering. You know, everybody right now is thinking that this crime occurred in a linear fashion. You know, you have Nancy coming home from dinner, garage door is closing, and then offender shows up on her front porch, and then he gets into the house, assaults Nancy, abducts Nancy, drives off. Based on other cases that I've worked, I would not dismiss the possibility that the offender was inside the house when Nancy came home. And now he is attacking Nancy, getting control of her or worse, and then going out in front with that costume on and posing in front of the camera at a certain time of night saying, here I am, the bad guy that came and abducted Nancy. You know, so that's part of what I would be evaluating. And the sheriff indicated that the garage door closed at 9:50 p.m. Now, is that because there's an electronic record or a digital record and she has a garage door opener that actually records that? Or is that based off of the son-in-law's statement? He says, well, it's about 9:50 when I drove off after watching her go into her garage. If there's digital recordings of the garage door opening and closing over the course of the day, one of the things that I'd want to know is, are there any suspicious entries of the garage door opening and closing that aren't lining up with Nancy's known life pattern? Because garage doors are frequently attacked by burglars, by serial predators, etc., in order to be able to get into houses. It's possible, you know, I think you mentioned off camera, you know, there's signs of a forced entry. If the guy's inside the house and attacks Nancy when she first gets in there, does he go outside the house and kick a door in? Sure, if he's trying to make it look like the crime is something that it's not. You know, I think the video of him on that front porch with that costume on is so compelling based on my experience that he is wanting to be seen. He wants to be seen in that costume because he's going, this is an abduction for ransom. And I believe thoroughly this is misdirection. He was there to harm Nancy and he pre-planned this crime to set it up to look like it's this abduction for ransom. So when the offender does that, that's what we call staging. And that's because the offender in his mind thinks that he is likely going to be a suspect. And this could be somebody very close to Nancy, or it could be somebody who delivered something to her house a year prior. But in his mind, he's going, I have a connection to her, the victim. I have a connection to that address. And so I have to make it look like something it's not. And for whatever reason, you know, there may have been a negative interaction with Nancy. There may be a sexual component that the offender is after. There may be something else. But nothing is adding up with what I am seeing in terms of the video, sending the ransom notes out to the media just to further complicate his ability to get, you know, the financial reward for the ransom. When he's like, well, I'm doing this for money. Well, you don't communicate to the media. You communicate to the family and you try to keep it as discreet as possible.
I mean, so many of us think the ransom is just a ruse. It was just another crime adjacent, somebody trying to take advantage of a terrible situation.
And it's possible he's setting this whole abduction ransom up as misdirection, but he goes, well, if they're going to drop $1 million into my account, sure, I'll take it. You know, but I think that there's, you know, I can't say with what is known exactly how this crime occurred. It's just, I don't want to, or at least I don't want to make the assumption that it's this: Nancy came home, the offender broke into the house, took care of the surveillance cameras, abducted Nancy. She gets hurt in the process. We have the blood out on the front porch, you know, and then drives off and is seeking ransom. I think there's more things going on in this case.
And if I understand what you're saying, this is somebody who planned this, but planned to make it look like someone else.
Oh, well, just take a look at the costume he's wearing. You know, he bought these items to look like he's this, you know, bad abductor. He's the guy that's going to come in. He's got that goofy, you know, holster with a gun that's hanging on, you know, on the front of his pants. Nobody wears a gun like that. You know, he wants that gun to be seen by the camera. So, you know, this just all tells me, you know, all of the abduction to ransom aspect is the staging component. And there's an interpersonal thing between this offender and Nancy. That is the sense that I've got with, you know, what I know at this time.
But if the ransom is all ancillary, it has nothing to do with this offender. This is just people overseas trying to scam because it's making a big headline. What do you think happened inside that house?
Well, you know, one possibility is Nancy comes home, you know, she goes to bed, and this offender is able to get inside the house, you know, whether it's through forced entry where there would be a noise, but she's 84 years old. So is it possible in the sleep that she doesn't hear anything?
And the hearing aids, you know, she's not wearing her hearing aids, presumably, when she goes to bed.
Well, and there you go, you know, and I'll tell you just from personal experience, I've slept through loud noises at night, right? So you know, it's possible that he just goes hands-on with her while she's asleep. Whether he gets her bound at that point, you know, I think the bleeding from Nancy is, you know, probably is, you know, maybe puts up a struggle, but not necessarily. He may just engage with her with some violence just to, you know, show that he's serious. He's gaining what we call compliance and control straight off the bat. And then, you know, how does he get her out of the house? You know, it's possible he gets her to walk out of the house and he's got a gun with him, or he's got a knife with him, and he's giving her threats. You know, the big thing that he has to worry about, you know, the neighborhood is set up to where you don't have good vision from the neighbor's house. So he's not so concerned about that. He's got to be concerned about Nancy making a noise, Nancy screaming. So he may just try to do that through verbal threats and the threats with the weapons, but he also likely is going to be gagging her, you know, and then does he basically force her to walk with him? That's one possibility. The other possibility is he completely binds her up, he gags her, he carries her out of the house. She's got some bleeding injuries. Does he go out onto the front porch, maybe walks further past the front porch, you know, and then now there should be continued bleeding that would be observed. And then he gets her into a vehicle and drives off.
But Paul, why would anybody want an 84-year-old woman in that state, bound and gagged and in your car? What's next?
Well, you know, it's very possible that everything that he wanted from Nancy occurred inside the house. And now, you know, removing Nancy from the house is just in furtherance of the misdirection, the abduction ransom aspect.
So removing,
that's my
maybe
sense.
If she was removed from the house alive, the intention would have been to eventually not keep her alive, but get rid of her in some way?
That's what I think. I think he went there to harm Nancy, and whether it was to kill her, whether it was to sexually assault her, you know, that's, you know, who knows at this point. With, you know, the sheriff's office hasn't revealed all the information that would help me evaluate what was the offender's true motive, you know, but for it to look, you know, this is where the staging aspect comes in. For him to set this up and make it look like it's some stranger that came in because of the high profile status of Nancy's daughter, etc., you know, he's trying to get law enforcement to think that, whereas the reality is that he's got some connection to Nancy, and understands that, you know, this is a family that the abduction for ransom is a ruse that is something that needs to be taken seriously.
With all your background, I mean, you've done it for a long time. Is this one the most confounding that you come across?
Oh,
I know that's asking a
You know,
lot, or at least one of the most.
You know, I think the way that I would phrase it is that it's a case that the offender is putting a lot of energy into in order to, you know, accomplish what the primary goal is. If he truly is abducting Nancy for ransom, he's doing it all wrong. He's showing a lack of sophistication, but I think that's purposeful. I think he's actually a more sophisticated offender who went in to harm Nancy. Now, is it the most confounding? Not necessarily. I've been involved in some pretty complex and mysterious cases, and you do get offenders that get very, very creative, and sometimes they overthink. And I think this guy kind of overthought this, and now he's having to dynamically adjust his plans as now the media attention's going on, and you have all these law enforcement resources that are converging. He probably wasn't expecting it to blow up quite this much.
Or maybe didn't know about the famous daughter that would blow it up this much.
And that may be, and that's where, does he see headlines and go, oh, now I would say, why, if he didn't know about the potential financial assets ahead of time that this family had, why even bother removing Nancy? This is now where he's elevating his risk. You always have to think about the offender's perspective and evaluating the risk. He does, unless there's something more that he wanted to do with Nancy once he got her off the property, that is not unheard of. But if he went there just to harm Nancy in some way, I would think he would have left her there and got the hell out of Dodge and laid low. But that's not what he did.
And this is why it is so just perplexing. Paul, thank you. Thank you for this.
Yeah, it's been my pleasure. Thanks, Ashley.
My great thanks to Paul Holes.
Wow. Listen, I know it's not something that any of us want to think about. I don't like thinking about it. I don't like ever thinking about sexual violence. I don't like it at all, but it's just another thing that has to be considered in this. And my only hope is that, yes, we've got a timeline, even though I've seen many say the timeline is messed up, meaning they're only giving us the timeline of like what Ashley was saying. They're only giving us the timeline on the date of the second, right, or the first. They're not mentioning the timeline of what could have happened in the hours before that, right? So who knows? But it is my hope. What I'm saying is that the timeline is very accurate, that there's only like 41 minutes, and that it took him, let's just say, 20 minutes how to freaking get in the freaking house, and then the other 20 minutes it was like getting her up and getting her out. That's my hope. I hope nothing more traumatizing. I mean, we know it was all traumatizing, doesn't matter what it is, but just hope nothing like that, because I've heard a couple of people talk about the sexual aspect of it, and there are sick people in this world. I don't think that there is any way that this guy, in order to say this guy didn't know who Nancy's daughter was, that would be to say that it's random. And I don't think it was random at all. I think it was completely planned out. Julio says, I get the feeling that the perp was trying to shield his face from the camera and moved over to cover the camera and couldn't quite see the camera because of the low light, then took it down. I mean, could be. It could be. I personally think that the two pictures that we are seeing of the perp, I don't think that it's on two different nights. I think it's the same night.
You said that.
Yeah, I don't think it's two different nights, because the number one thing if he was just going to case it, and figure out what he's going to do and then come back, the first thing you're going to do is, if you're going to wear a whole outfit to try to disguise yourself, you're going to cover the camera. So I think it was all the same night.
I don't get where people are saying he's wearing clothes to hide himself. I mean, I see joggers. I see men.
No, but what I'm saying is like not clothes. I mean, clothes meaning like the face mask and stuff to hide his identity. That's what I mean by that. If he came to case, the first thing he'd be casing is, where's the cameras here? What do I got to get rid of so nobody knows, can see me? So that's so.
Said he's dressing like he looks like a badass, like as
maybe. Maybe it's just something in his closet. Maybe it's just what he wore, and that's
Looks like he's got a
that's the
fleece
other
jacket
thing.
on. Yeah.
That's the other thing. If it was 2 different nights, what he's doing is, if he came one night to case the place and look around, he takes the chance of picking up some kind of DNA, taking it back home with him.
Yeah.
Taking his clothes off, leaving them there to put them back on, and come back the next night. Now he's got trace DNA. He's got maybe carpet
He must
fibers
be
from
covered
being
in
car-
DNA. He
Yeah,
must be.
so I don't see this man as coming back twice. I think the pictures was on the same night, because definitely there's going to be some kind of trace DNA from him taking the clothes off, putting them back on to go back now. You know what I mean? Like, he was going to pick up fibers from somewhere doing that. So that makes no sense to me at all. Let's see. If you're professional, would you not be as creative as possible using op shots, clothes container, other DNA, using the net mask and face on it, ski mask? So what we, I just don't see him going out like Brian Koberger did and buying the stuff that I think he just pulled out what was in his closet.
Yeah, it's normal clothes. I don't think it was anything.
And nothing that he didn't mind getting rid of.
Yeah.
The only thing he might have bought, and maybe he got it from Goodwill, is the mask.
The gloves.
Yeah, and the gloves. Other than that, I think it was just shit he pulled out, and he knew he had to get rid of.
Like you say, he must be covered in DNA.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
because you could see through that door, the side door, the bedding was dragged off, and the rug was all like scrumpled up. So that's where there's definitely something gone on there.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And so he's got all that DNA all over him. No way you can drag a lady from a bed and not get that on you.
Oh, JB, it's okay. It's okay. We'll just see what we can see on it. MJD says, didn't they confirm it was 2 different nights? No, that's just what people are saying.
I thought they did as well. So maybe I've just seen what people are saying and thought it's,
unless, now I haven't seen it. All I've seen is people say it might be 2 different nights. But what I'm going to ask you is, if the police did come out and say, you guys, this is 2 different nights, could it have been the night of the 31st? And then the next time you see him on camera is the night of the 1st? Because remember, it was right there on the cusp of switching days, right?
Possibility, innit?
Yeah, I just don't. If he's wearing the exact same clothes, and I don't know, because in one instance, I think it's a totally different jacket and a different body.
If he had any sense, he'd have got rid of them straight away. Wouldn't have them hanging around your house, would you?
No way. That's why I've always said I think the police should look into, because I know they've got to have a burn ban there, and they should look into was anybody had one of those big burn barrels or doing some kind of burning in the backyard of the desert. I think they should
anyway,
look into
just
it.
to confirm, so I've just seen on someone else's like JLR's, not JLR, what is his name? Tucson. I've been watching what he's saying in the text. He's text. What they mean? What I mean? What's called captions. And he said, not arrestedly, it was detained. The detained. So he said, let's see what happens tonight. So it is.
Okay.
Is something happening then.
Okay, thank you for that, Maggie. The Great One says, I think it might be the same night. The light situation could be simply that a cloud went across. Yes. JB did send me the video. All we've got on it is 6 minutes. And unfortunately, her mom's not on that one, but I'm sure I could find another one, and I'll just do it another night of seeing her mom on videos with her.
Was that all you wanted, just to watch your mom on a video?
I wanted to see her, and they say that she went to her house. I've never seen it, So I'm just going off what people are saying, that in that when
dying.
she did it, she was actually doing it in the house. I would like to see in the house, even if I'm just in a dining
Yeah,
room.
she was showing everyone. She brought them in and showing them around. I watched some of it, but not all.
Even us plebs are aware enough not to wear our own clothes just from our closet. We don't think we know enough about what happened inside. I don't. Yeah, we definitely don't. We don't.
Whereabouts are you from, Julio? Where do you live?
It's okay, Julio. I got it. Exactly the 31st to the 1st, right? That's right. No, her mom is on it, Leanie, at 6 minutes. Okay, so let's pull that up because I've always wanted to watch this. So I'm going to, let me get rid of Ashley. All right, we're going to pull up video. This was, and I'm pulling it off of Facebook, actually. And we'll make it bigger here, and then I'll make it bigger on the screen as well. So this was, it says, my source is Facebook, and it is Savannah Guthrie takes us back to her old stomping grounds, Tucson, Arizona, for homecoming day. She shows us everything from the something. I don't know. So we're going to find out. This is 7 minutes. I'm not going to play it fast because I want to make sure we hear everything that we can hear. All right, that's as big as I can get it. And it's not letting me fix anything on here. All right, so let's just watch this. I just kind of want to see what her mom sounds like, and because sometimes you can hear strength and weaknesses, I think, in people's voices, like if they're feeble or whatever, you know what I mean? So I think I want to hear her voice and see if I hear that feebleness, especially when you've got a heart condition. All right, guys, let's play this. Make sure I've got it up as much as okay. Watch your ears, guys. Watch your ears. Get your mirrors out, JB. Oh.
Called Homecoming today. And Savannah, we're going to start with you. You took us back to your old stomping grounds.
Oh, yes. Here we go. You know, I'm really excited about this. When people ask me, where are you from? I'm always proud when I say Tucson, Arizona. I grew up there, went to college there. My mom still lives there. And honestly, a part of me has really never left. So thanks to our sponsor, Visit Tucson, I got a chance to go home to show you everything from the giants of the desert to the people who raised me, and really why Tucson is unlike anywhere else in the world. There is no place like home, especially when home is as stunning a place as Tucson, Arizona, where the sunsets paint the sky every single night, and every cactus is an old friend. Prickly pear, saguaro. This is the jumping cholla, because if you walk past it and brush it, it jumps out at you. Or, in some cases, frenemy. Ow. Still sharp, but Tucson is more than its breathtaking landscape. It's a vibrant community and canvas. Hi, Joe. I'm Savannah Guthrie. Nice to meet you. This is beautiful.
Thanks.
Joe Pagic has transformed Tucson one wall at a time, turning bland buildings into colorful celebrations of desert life and culture.
Just gonna do a little arc like that.
Okay. I'm leaving my mark on Tucson.
Do it. That's a finished Gila monster tail.
And speaking of desert creatures, no trip to Tucson is complete without visiting the Arizona Sonora Desert Museum. A frequent elementary school field trip for me, it's home to hundreds of animals native to the Sonoran Desert. Like javelinas, those wild rascals that were always knocking over our trash cans growing up. And a brand new bouncing baby.
This is our porcupine pine cone who actually came to us from New York.
After weeks of he's making his big debut with us. Honey, I'm bringing home a pet. But it was all just a warm-up for Klaus.
He's about as close to a flying puppy as you can get.
Okay.
So,
woman, 53, dies in hometown, felled by ferocious puppy owl. Klaus. Oh God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
So this is Klaus.
Hi, Klaus.
Are you okay?
I'm okay.
Okay.
Hey, Klaus. Well, it's nice to meet you and everything. Okay. Oh, bye.
Overcoming your fears.
Yes, you did fantastic. You did fantastic.
And speaking of girls gone wild, Tucson is also where I went to college. I can't believe it. I'm back. This is my alma mater, the University of Arizona. It's just as beautiful and sunny as it ever was. But I want to meet some real students of today.
No.
I know just where to go. Knock, knock. Mr. President.
Hey,
Hi.
Savannah.
Yeah,
Great to see you. Just reading about you.
Oh my gosh. It is so good to be back in
Great
Tucson.
to see you. Welcome.
I'm a hugger. This is home.
That's fantastic.
Where-
We're so happy you're back.
Where are all the students?
You remember them all.
Yes.
Welcome home.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Bye-bye.
I'm here, but where is everybody?
Welcome back home, Savannah.
I think this is my sorority house. I think this is the Pi-Fi house. I gotta go in. Hello? Anybody home? Hello? Yes? Oh, hi. Hi, I'm Savannah Guthrie. Pi-Fi, Pledge Class 90.
1 second. You might want to back up a little bit.
Back in my day, we just did the secret handshake. Now, they have a viral TikTok dance. You guys just won Best Pi-Fi Chapter in the country. Is this a snap? That's what we used to do. What does it mean to you to be a Pi-Fi and be part of this organization?
I find myself becoming a better version of who I am every single day that I'm in Pi-Fi. We have the most amazing emerging leaders, and I'm just so proud of all of them.
Well, it's so fun to be back here. It's been a long, long time.
Actually, we did find something of yours, and we have a little surprise for you.
Okay. I remember this. This used to hang on the wall.
Yeah, it still does.
Big hair, don't care. Okay, let's see.
There you
Here I
are,
am.
yep.
Oh, yeah, there we am. That's my natural hair color. Guys, thank you so much for having me. I've had the best time. Should we do one more cheer before I go?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's go. 3, 2, 1. But by far, my favorite part about Tucson is family. El Charro is the oldest family-owned Mexican restaurant in America and the perfect place to catch up with mine, my mom Nancy and sister Annie. I come here every time I come home to Tucson. I have to come to El Charro. How long has El Charro been here? 103 years. Carlota Flores has run El Charro for over 50 years, taking over from her great aunt Monica, the woman who's said to have invented the chimichanga. She treated us to a tradition from back in Prohibition when women playing cards would hide their tequila in teacups. Cheers. Cheers. I love being home. Don't drink the whole thing. Well, Mom, you guys came here in the 70s and you'd been moving all around. What made you want to stay in Tucson and plant roots?
It's so wonderful. Just the air, the quality of life is laid back and gentle. Yeah, I like to watch the javelina eat my plants.
But the best thing about Tucson is coming home and
Yes.
seeing you guys. Should we raise a glass? Prickly pear margarita? Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
Love you.
Love you.
From the love of family to the familiar beauty of the scenery, I will always be a daughter of the desert.
Daughter? Oh, daughter.
Daughter of the desert.
That was like a movie.
What do y'all think? I mean, hi, Lolly. She does kind of sound older. That video you guys
Well,
was
she had
just-
something wrong with her throat, sounds like to me.
Oh,
Like-
Savannah. Yeah, she's had
No, the mum.
Her mom.
Yeah.
Well, Savannah has had throat surgery on her vocal cords. But her mom, I could see, because all the pictures you see of her, she's just like, to me, she doesn't look that old, She looks,
No,
she looks robust.
How long ago was that?
And that was just 3 months, you guys, prior to
3 months ago.
3 months prior to her gone missing. We're already in the second month. Let me look real quick. I could tell you guys the exact date that this
I've
was
seen a
this is
picture of her where she
November.
looks old, but then she doesn't look that old to me.
This was November 5th, 2025. So this was 3 months prior to her being taken. I wonder if this was the last time she actually saw her mother alive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Savannah has polyps. Yes, it is so sad. It is so sad. But I mean, I don't know, you guys. It's a terrible thing. And I know, like all of you, I know, like Maggie, I think we can all, yeah, she did seem frail to me too. Yes.
Voice, yeah.
Yeah. And we're just going to keep going with it. We may not have something to report on every day, sadly, because I wish we did.
Yeah.
But hopefully the quietness just means that something is working in the background. And knowing that the FBI was out there, what, Maggie, were they out there yesterday?
What happens tonight? Yeah.
And we'll see what's happening tonight. I probably will do another live tonight, especially if something's going down. We'll do another live tonight. And we'll catch up on it. But until then, we're just going to keep going at it. We're going to keep remembering Nancy and speaking on her, and pray for a return at this point. And
it's not just to bring content, it's because we're really interested as well.
We are really, yes. Yeah.
We're invested in it as much.
Listen, if it was about content, all I have to do is put Jeffrey Epstein in a title somewhere.
Definitely,
and we would definitely have, and I could sit here and act like I know about it and talk shit about everybody that's on it, and have my magpie come in and talk bad about the royal family and stuff. You guys, we'd blow up like no other. It's not about that to
Wouldn't
us.
even go there. Too many rabbit holes there.
Yeah, it's just about, I mean, we care about this, and we care about Nancy, and care about a lot of other things. So we're going to continue with it. We're going to keep a sharp eye on it. And in the meanwhile, we'll figure out something to put in between the Nancy Guthrie updates. We're going to have to figure out, where do we go next from here? Like so many. I'm not going to quit, but I'm not going to sit here and play JLR sitting in the, as much as I appreciate him, but you know what I mean? Like, I just can't sit here and just do that. So we're going to figure out something that everybody's interested in, and we'll plug the holes, I guess, with that. And then as Nancy Guthrie, as anything comes out, we will shift gears and always cover it. And hopefully there'll be an ending very, very soon. She really didn't say her name or anything. She should be able to show her family shame. Yeah. It's just, you just have to protect your people, you guys. No matter who you are.
Able to show our families, couldn't we? The world's fucked up. It's too many bad people out there. It's just not safe to do that, unfortunately.
It's not safe. Even on social media today, no matter who you are, you never know who is obsessed with you. And I know we all sit back and go, with me, like, okay, do you know me? Like, but it's so true. You never know what people, what gets people like that, and so protect your families and protect yourself. But mainly, if you choose to be on any of the platforms, protect your family, your grandkids, your kids. Don't give out pictures and their names or even their locations or anything like that, because it does happen.
To think some kids are on all over the internet.
All over.
It's very frightening.
All over.
Just don't know what they're up to.
Yeah. All right, so I think 3 hours is enough listening to my bull crap, and I thank you guys for being here. Maggie, you're probably ready for bed. I know Jesse's been keeping you up.
Jesse's been snoring all night. She'll be awake all night now. I'm actually
Yes.
okay right now.
I thought you said your phone was dying.
My phone is dying. What did you say then to me? What are you on about? Say that again.
Oh, well, I was just worried about you getting enough sleep, and then I heard you say that your phone was dying. But I knew
No.
you'd be up all night long with freaking Nancy.
My phone is dying. Did I just say that now?
You said it a little while ago.
Yeah, I've got it plugged in at the side of me.
Oh hell!
I thought I
Then
said it again.
We'll pull
Oh,
up.
sorry.
No, go ahead. I was just gonna say if you're gonna stick around for a little while.
I'm not. No, I'm gonna get off. I'm gonna get myself settled into
Are
bed.
y'all as confused as I am with her? She's like, no, I'm up. Jesse's been
Oh no, I know.
all
I
night
just.
long. And
No, I
Maggie,
guess I'm all right now. Jessie slept all night. She'll be awake all night now.
yeah, you will be, but you'll be able to
Well,
keep.
she's getting a cone on, and she's not gonna. Do you know what? She's laid there all night on her back snoring. I can send a picture now,
Oh,
and
goodness.
it's just sad that I've got to put a cone on her.
I
She's
know.
not, she was itching at it tonight, and I had to shout at her. That was earlier on, and she's been absolutely fine, but I can't take the chance. I've ordered a soft one anyway off Amazon to come tomorrow because I can't put up with putting that on it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's too hard. It's got like bits, you put a collar through, Leanie, the loops, but the loops are hard, rigid plastic. It's sticking her throat. It's horrible.
I know. I was so worried about Cheyenne when she had to wear one too, but
Yeah.
as long as I took it, I didn't make Cheyenne wear hers either. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I just prayed and try to keep one
If
eye
I'm here
open.
and she's fine, but I'm terrified, Lainey, if she went for that and I'd die.
I know.
Especially on her face. Oh no.
Yeah, I know.
Terrified.
You're doing the right thing, but you're just gonna
Yeah.
have trouble, over the next week of getting her comfortable and you trying to get some sleep too.
Yeah.
All
Once
right.
I get the soft one, I'll be fine. She's just got to get on with it.
She's gonna have to get on with it. She's a tough girl though.
Yeah, she is. She's
like
not
her
a bit
mama.
put out. She's not acting any different. She's really good.
All right, Maggie. All right, everybody. We're going to close this one out together. We love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. Last one in, turn the lights out. If you haven't hit the like, please do so. That's all we ever ask of anybody around here. Thank you to the mods who came in and to all those that had a chat with us. We love you guys for that. I mean, you
Yeah.
have no idea. It makes this worthwhile when you
It's great
realize
to
that-
bounce different theories, isn't it, with the chat? It's so interesting, I
Absolutely.
find. It makes you just changes things you think. I love it when the chat's really involved.
Me too. And it makes it worthwhile because
It
when you've
does,
got
yeah.
chat moving, then you feel like that what you have to say is worth saying. If
Yeah.
chat is watching other stuff, doing other stuff, unless because there's a lot of times I tell people I'm putting you on the big screen because I got to go cook or clean or do something. That's different. But whenever, so we just appreciate the chat. We more than you keep creators going, especially us that like to be involved with our chat. So we're signing off now. We're loving you and leaving you and thanking you so much for being here.
Well, I'm going to go over to Discord for 5 minutes, girls. So
all right, we'll see you
I'll
over
just
there.
see ya. Okay, love. Good night and God bless everyone. Otherwise, have a good day and I'll speak to you all soon. Night. See you in a minute, late. Bye, love.
Okay. Love you. Bye.
Love
All
you.
right, guys, that's it for us. Y'all be good or be good at it. And we'll see you next time. We'll keep an eye on what's going on. Love you guys. Thank you for being here. Bye.
Chicks hug.